Okay.
Game.
Okay, that's a really awesome way for this audio to start. That's going to frighten everybody else off. It is the finale! Game is game. Oh my god. How am I
You're
supposed
all
to follow this
absolutely
up?
feral.
Everyone has actually gone feral. We're a little late starting. Everybody's on the ceiling already. It's all good. I have just consumed a large dose of sugar to cope with this, and yeah.
Same.
Let's just do the usual. Introduce yourself. Introduce your character. And we'll do descriptions in a bit. You'll understand why. But yeah, names and characters and anything else you want to add for the final game.
Hi, I'm Kai, and I'm playing Charlie, and I am one of the feral people on the ceiling.
Hi, I'm Uni. I'm playing Larry. Everyone yelled at me so that I would eat breakfast because they're all nice people.
Hello, I am Snail. I play Snailian. I am also feral and on the ceiling because game. Game.
Oh wait, is that me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I am Owl. I play Shorts Kid, who is definitely not an allegory for a similar kid, but with like a hat instead of shorts. That sounds fake. But hi, I have had Coke for breakfast, and I'll eat something a little later when my stomach wakes up.
We did try to encourage her to eat something as well, but we move on. Okay, so in the last game, things happened. It went a bit sideways, but it
did happen.
It was really good. It was excellent. However,
sorry.
no, don't be
it was
sorry.
so
We're
good.
just saying it's really good. It was excellent stuff. So
I got a nat 20 on fucking hitting your character, and I bashed him in the skull.
that was unfortunate and yet
That is true.
brilliant. But the unfortunate result of this was that you didn't quite get all of the evidence. So what we did off screen, as it were, was I gave them the very little remaining amount of evidence, and they, as players, talked and came up with their solution to my little puzzle. So what we're going to open with is them finding this evidence, because Uni is brilliant and basically wrote up a montage. So take it away.
Okay, so
Everyone say thank you, Uni.
Thank you,
Thank
Uni.
you, Uni.
You're good.
You've
Oh,
saved my back.
I do what I can.
I just enjoy the fact that I did not have to write up anything for this. Like, that's a fucking godsend, just considering that I have not written, like, tomorrow's fucking session either.
Don't worry about it. Anyway, Uni, go, go, go.
Okay, so after the team finished conferring with the conductor, they took advantage of having skipped ahead to the engine room. So they talked with Daisy and Maisie, who, as a reminder, are the super adorable married owls that are manning the controls there. And there we get the data logs from across the train. The damaged door between the bathroom and the library has scrambled the data for all the doors, so we don't know anything about how often they were used. But we can still get the information from the transportation tubes. Each of them were used once. We also confirmed that the safety lock was on the entire time, so no harmful magic or weapons could be wielded. So then Larry and Snailian make their way back to the ballroom. They go hunting through the sea of spheres for evidence and find chalk traces both on in the pit and on the push panel for the door that leads to the library. Charlie, who didn't get a chance to look in the food car, does another sweep around. He confirms from the food that's all set up there that that Kit couldn't have left the kitchens because everything would have burned. And he also gets a better look at the panel Larry found last session underneath the cabinet. He pretty much just confirms that was a movie prop to help it actually topple as necessary. Then in the conservatory, they all split in different directions because this was the last place the victim was seen alive. Shorts Kid uses their special acrobatic abilities to get a peek way up at the transport tube, From there, they can find traces of chalk on the entrance and inside it. Charlie takes note of a flower vase. It sort of blends in with all the decor being very planty, but this one doesn't have any flowers or anything in it. It's just filled with extremely blue water. And then Snailian, being the tiny little friend they are, notices a weird set of footprints in the mud. And they're in a bizarre place in the lower, in basically the corner of the room where people aren't generally walking. And it's ladies' footwear, as well as traces of that same sort of blue color. So, with all that gathered, all that's left is for the group to gather together their suspects and sniff out the culprit.
Yeah.
Also, can I say that Shorts Kid definitely fucking tried to drink the blue liquid in the vase?
Oh,
Don't
actually,
do that, Shorts Kid.
question. When that happened, did Shorts Kid come into contact with this liquid at any point?
No, I think that fucking someone else in the party, be it Larry or Charlie, because they're the only ones who are physically tall enough to stop them, just went, no, don't fucking drink the evidence.
That's probably a
And
good
Short
idea.
Kid was just like, it's a good color. I want to drink it.
It's a very nice colour blue, it's true. So here's the thing. The payoff for you getting this evidence off screen and me letting you solve all of this was that, if you have accumulated any more chemical data that you want Woodlig to analyse, you can do that, but he hasn't had time to do that yet. So at the moment, we can say that you have, as it were, let's say you, via the power of narrative, I have teleported your characters back into their cabins in the second class car, and you've had sort of time to brainstorm and come up with this theory that you have come up with, which I'm very proud of. You guys, I'm so proud of these players. They're so smart. So you've basically got a theory, but you haven't got confirmation on all of the chemical data. However, if you want to call the engineer and arrange for your big reveal, you can totally do that while you're waiting for the evidence. And and the thing is, this is going to be your grand finale. This is going to be the end of the movie. If you want to, scrub up a bit, looking at you, Charlie, because you're still a mess from going on top of the train, now is the time to put on your party outfits, because it's this is Poirot and Professor Layton saying, you done it! So if you want to look cool, now is the time to say.
Shorts Kid ducks back into their bunk and changes again. And when they come out, they're wearing a very nice pair of gray shorts, along with a suit jacket and a red bow tie and a pair of glasses, because it's time to do the thing and expose the murderer. And they saw this on TV once.
Yes. I appreciate that.
Oh, amazing.
You
Charlie
can't-
is going to make Charlie's going to make copious use of prestidigitation to clean himself up, and he is wearing the hat and the fake moustache he had on earlier as well again.
Elementary, my dear Charlie.
In case you're wondering, I just put a fucking photo of Conan Edogawa from Case Closed in the thing, or Detective Conan if you read the manga or are from Japan. So
This is the reference. Yeah. Larry, what you wearing? Or are you just kicking your usual look?
Yeah. He goes and washes his mask, I guess. And then he puts it back on.
Okay, I need you to know that after he does this, Snailian slowly slimes up, and then they take their hands and they press against and make angry eyebrows on him, because this is serious business. And they're like, yeah? And they're looking at him with just the most delighted expression.
slime.
just watched this.
But you're serious now, so we gotta make serious eyebrows. And they're like, serious eyebrows.
Shorts kid comes up and puts another like little red bow tie on top of Snailian, little like Snellmet, and then puts a red bow tie on Larry, and then rushes off to go find Charlie so that they can also have a red bow tie. So they're all matching.
Yes. Hell yes.
Beautiful.
I want to be clear. If you want to, you can turn around and rewash the mask after Snailian slips off, but they will be sad.
Oh,
Brutal.
he doesn't want to do this with shit on his mask. Sorry, Snailian.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay, now you've got your team look. You are team bow tie now. This is great. What do you want to do? You can talk in character for a bit, or you can just get right to it.
We want to solve the crime. We want to solve the crime.
It's time.
Should we call Train Dad?
Dad? Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
let's call
they'll call your
Train
pops.
Dad.
Okay, who's calling Train Dad? Play me the scene.
I mean, it probably is Short's kid because it's their train dad.
Yeah, but I also want to say that fucking Larry does it because they're tall enough to reach the button easily.
Yeah. Shorts kid runs over to do it, then just stands there because they're not tall enough to reach the button, and so then Larry goes over and presses it for them again.
The engineer is everyone's trained at this point.
Oh, you don't know how true that is, because as the screen flickers on, you get the impression that, he'd left the receiver on, because he's not in the screen, but off screen, you can hear this kind of conversation that's happening without you, and he's saying something along the lines of, well, I know I've looked after kids before, but is the paperwork complicated? Oh, well, you'll be fine. You've had previous experience with looking after children. I'm sure the agency will be very helpful. And if you need any extra, I mean, we've adopted 3 already. We'll be able to help you. Oh, that's. I think I'll take you up. We're getting. Hello, hi. Hello. How are you doing? Do you need help or hints as to what's going on?
We solved your murder. Also, are you like adopting a dog?
He basically falls out of shot for a second and then comes back looking slightly scruffy and very much blushing, even though, he it's really hard to tell what part of this animal is cheeks, considering he has no eyes. There's very little point of reference for this, but there is definitely blushing going on. And he says, there's something along that lines. In fact, that's probably the closest similarity I can think of, yes. But that's fantastic.
What breed is it? Is it like a dachshund or like a Pomeranian or like a golden retriever, a big dog? What is it?
It's a wee animal. I'm not sure what breed. I'm hesitating to say a mongrel, but it's quite a lovely thing. Anyway, I am just going to...
I want pictures. I want pictures.
I'll take some, don't you worry. But you say you solved it. You've solved it, and that's great. That's right on schedule. And he's looking at his stopwatch again. Oh, we only have about 25 minutes left. That's great. Okay. Ooh, you look great, you felt. Oh, fantastic. I don't even have to tell you to do your costume change. I think the most appropriate setting would probably be the library. So I will see you in there. I'll tell everybody else to convene there. Is there anything else you need to tell me before we, well, I might as well just say it, before we do our finale for the movie?
Snillian sticks up their hand.
Yes, go ahead, Snillian.
Is it okay if we don't have like all of the things processed with Mr. Dr. Ludwig because we're working on it, but it's not done yet, but we know what happened.
Oh, do you now? I like the confidence. And he looks like a bit challenging, like, do you really? But he's actually really hoping that you do, otherwise this will go badly. And he says, well, that's all right. I'll pass by him on the way down and see how he's doing. But if he's not finished, we can just skip ahead. I think you understand that he's probably not in the picture. And yes, we'll burn that bridge when we come to it, okay? Is there anything else at all?
I know Charlie's gonna lean in like right at the end before everyone filters out and say something, but if anyone else wants to say things, go first.
Okay, Shorts Kid just kind of like, with their eyes peeking up over the edge of the camera, just like, I don't think so. We'll see you real soon. Love you.
Okay, you know that the Ghibli thing with the hair that goes like that happens, and his ears kind of droop slightly. He's just like he completely doesn't know what to do with it. He's like, all right, I'll see you soon.
Okay, Charlie, what you want to say? You have to follow love you with something real good.
He was basically just kind of gonna lean in, like hands like whispering into the like a stage whispering into thing, and just go like, "Oh, they can't stop the adoption if they don't know where the kid's from, by the way," and just walk off.
Oh my god! Love you. They can't stop the adoption if they don't know where the kid's from.
I didn't know that. Is
Charlie
that
has
legit?
experience with this, and he is not expanding on that.
That's why it just made me cackle. I'm like, that's narratively appropriate.
Okay, with that, I'm actually just gonna say like, Charlie, you hang up on him so he can't reply because that's funnier.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay, a very small amount of time passes and you are in the library. You actually get that first because you get that first, and so eventually the engineer appears, and then Cuisine Kit, and then you have DJ moves, and and Dora. I'm acting like someone's going to lean out of the screen and throttle me from Gears for Breakfast if I get it wrong, but I keep doing it, so whatever.
Mixmaster moves.
And they all convene, and as with you, they've put in a bit of effort to look, serious because this is the finale, and it's also kind of like not quite a funeral wake because you have Vic's outline on the floor in the library, which is kind of weird, but also kind of like what's going on. So Cuisine Kit has her usual white outfit on, but she has a black neckerchief on instead of her usual blue, and DJ Moves, instead of his sort of Elvis Presley white outfit, has exchanged it for a very sort of cool rockabilly black outfit with tassels and gold rhinestones. He wears it very well, and he knows that. And then there's Dora, who is wearing her usual dress. She's wearing her usual dress, but she has, in a nod to the original movie, donned a big black hat and black and white stripy tights, which is great. And she's also let her hair down, so she actually looks really cool. She looks very pretty. On the other hand, there's something about her face which is a little bit different, and she is a little bit red on the cheeks and the bridge of her nose, and you remember those turquoise cocktails she was drinking before? She's got another one, and she's standing upright, but you think the swaying is not purely down to the movement of the train, and she gives you, Shorts Kid, she gives you a little cheers with the cocktail, like, hey, remember when you drank one of these? That was a good time, huh? And
oh no.
Yeah, the engineer looks a little bit put out by this because he'd expected better, and there's also a sort of dismay on his part because you actually start to understand why he didn't want you to know that this was a movie, because right now you're all in on it, and there's this kind of warm, jokey camaraderie feeling in the room, which is not appropriate for this scene in a movie. So
it is appropriate, however, for Shorts Kid, who has gone over to the bookshelf while everyone was all convening and basically just made a big stack of books so that Snailian is closer to eye level with the rest of the group, to make framing a little bit easier if you happen to be drawing this scene. And they have also given themselves some books, so like now Snailian and Shorts Kid are standing on the box, so we don't have to keep switching perspective shot.
I would like to note that Snailian definitely gave Shorts Kid a peck on the cheek for being so nice and doing that. And Snailian has also noticed that, like, the mask has been washed off and Larry doesn't have the angry eyebrows and has definitely gone, and then, like, looked at them grumpily and then drawn angry eyebrows on their own helmet, even though they actually have eyebrows. So for the rest of the scene, there's going to be lines on their helmet that are angry eyebrows, no matter what expression they're actually making.
Double eyebrows.
Good.
I'm so happy, you guys. This is gonna be so much fun.
Larry and Charlie, how are you reacting to this sort of jovial atmosphere?
Oh, see, like, thing is, now that Charlie knows for certain this movie and he's kind of actually agreed to it, he's gonna be doing this properly. So can I actually, like, I want to see how good this is, and can I make a performance check?
I'm actually going to make you all roll performance, and you might as well do it now, because, yeah, you're going to do your dramatic reveal scene, so everybody roll performance, please.
Oh,
A
God.
9! Oh, Charlie, what happened? Stage
I would like to point out, Charlie actually rolled a 2. He still has a +7, but oof.
That's a 9!
Oof.
Oh, honey, you were 1 away from a critical fail.
We can, technically we can help you, like, if
Oh,
we all
Larry,
roll.
You know
Larry.
what? No. I'm going to use my inspiration
Yeah.
to make that not a 2.
Awesome.
Can we call a mulligan here?
Okay, what is my performance? Oh, that's actually +3. That's pretty good. How do you not have plus anything for performance as a bard, Uni?
Look,
We'll get...
I said Larry was a performer. I didn't say he was
Yeah.
a good performer.
Yeah, Larry is unique. Oh, 17. That's very good from Shorts Kid.
Yeah, bitchin'.
Okay, this
I'm
is...
gonna also use my inspiration point.
Okay, we've got 2 20s then. And I think because you have 2 20s in the party, Charlie, they help carry you. I don't know if it's because you've got thrown out from the whole situation you had with the engineer before, and you're feeling like the repercussions of that now, or something. But yeah, you're not fully on your game. But the other
I'm
seems
gonna
to
say
be
That
good.
means I don't need to use up my own inspiration as well.
Yeah, that's
2 20s and a 17. I would say that probably does carry anyone who's like slightly off but because of the game pretty well.
yeah.
Like,
And also probably Dora Z. Cough, cough.
Yeah, that is true. Also, I would like to point out, I did still get a 9. That's at least a high fail.
Yeah, no, that's not like that's not a 2. That's still a 9. But yeah, compared to your usual performing talents, that's what I mean. Like Charlie is a con man; he can act. So this was a bit surprising to Charlie that he's
Yeah.
fumbled, as it
Yeah.
were. But you know, again, yeah, Dora's a little bit after that, and DJ Moves is having to kind of make up for her. They're sided off to one side next to a bookshelf, looking definitely not sinister and also trying not to giggle. Cousine Kit is the only one, ironically, despite her inability to act, who seems to be taking this really seriously and has this very sincere expression, and she's occasionally like plucking a hair out of her tail to focus because it's really important. And the engineer does seem to keep some level of his facade for a bit, but then he's kind of like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna have to edit this to be a comedy. It's my only option. Anyway, so who done
to be
it?
fair, they're all much better suited to a comedy than a drama.
Yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, the engineer basically says, who done it? What do you think, my improvisational detectives? Have you solved the murder? I apologise for the absence of our dear friend the professor, but he said that he had some important data analysis, which was unexpected that had come up. I assume it's from the other data he was accumulating. So we'll move on, and hopefully he will join us before too long.
Heck yeah, we're ready. Just standing on top of their stack of books, like, heck yes, and they're just like posing, and they've done the anime glasses thing where they push up the bridge and they do the shiny thing, and they're like, we know exactly who did this murder, right, Larry? And then they just like flip their head over and the camera like pans over dramatically.
Larry's been leaning against a bookcase, plucking dramatically at his banjo. Yeah, I think we got it.
Well, I'll leave it to you then.
Okay.
Ace Attorney explanation
So-
music, go!
Is that the right one? I haven't played Ace Attorney.
No, that's accurate.
That's more or less the vibe, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'll cut through all the nonsense and just point out the most suspicious person in the room. DJ Moves doesn't have an alibi because he was in the shower. Like those penguin guys, they said they could hear him the whole time, but hearing someone's voice isn't like actually being there with them or whatever. You know, he's a performer. He can just make a recording of a performance that he does. Sort of like the one that I found in the bathroom, you know, all burned up as if it were evidence or something. So, you know, he plays a song and people be like, oh, I hear him performing. He's still there. And he can move around without anyone noticing. So what I'm saying is Moves probably went to the ballroom where there's a transport tube to the conservatory, because that's the last place we saw that dude alive.
At this point, Cuisine Kit puts her paw up.
Yeah.
Hang on a tick. How the heck could he have gotten all the way to the ballroom? The door to the library was blocked, right?
I mean, was it? Like he said it was, but I'm pretty sure no one else actually checked. So it was probably made up. Like no one even looked until after the body was found, and even then, I think you said he was the one who went and looked at it. You were too busy trying not to freak out from there being a dead body in front of you, so you didn't even get a look at the door before he went over to look. And by look, I mean that's the part where he broke the door so that he actually had an alibi or whatever.
The spotlight swings over to DJ Moves and glitters off all of the glitter and rhinestones while he sort of looks absolutely distraught at this accusation and says, Wait, darling. If all that were true, that would mean the door was only blocked by all my adoring fans in the staff quarters. If someone came in here from the other direction, I'd have been caught immediately. Sure, the dining car's door was blocked by an accident, but there's no way I could have known that had happened, of course.
Well, sure, Snailian says, and they're like taking this acting part very seriously. They have their hands on their hips and they're looking at him with a squinty eye while their angry eyebrows are still present, and going,
They have hips?
You couldn't have. Well, you know, they've got their nubbins on their sides.
Okay.
You know, don't think about this so hard.
Okay.
What do you think a snail shakes when it shakes what its mama gave it?
You couldn't have planned on an accident. That's why you didn't plan on an accident. You made sure your partner in crime set things up while they moved on ahead. Isn't that right, Dora? And they
Dun, dun,
turn
dun.
the screen and point and show off Dora.
Dora looks, as with DJ Moves, similarly aghast at this accusation, and even though she's a couple of sheets to the wind, not quite 3, but nearly, she actually sells the performance of being really shocked that you would accuse her.
And then Snailian starts doing the pacing thing, but it's like along the line of the books and says, You two were awfully chummy earlier on the train ride, even though you say you never met before. But, and they point their little nubbin up in the air, we heard the truth from a very mysterious and superdy-duperdy, so anonymous source. you two, and she points at them again, actually made a movie together, but then it was like super bad. It was so super bad that if anybody heard about it, you might never get to work in movies again, which would be a crying shame because, like, you guys are really fun. And then they, like, shake themselves like, no way, I wasn't supposed to say that. and they're, like, serious up again. That is, if the fellow who handled the paperwork ever let word get out. So, and they're, like, fully back in character again, squinting at them. You two plotted to make sure that he never could let word get out.
Charlie pushes him. Sorry. Charlie pushes himself off whatever wall he'd been leaning against and starts doing the pacing thing himself, pointing at Dora as he goes. Sorry to do this, love, but you went to the dining car just so you could say you were helping Kit with her work. But, like, you weren't planning up on cleaning anything, were you? Just making more of a mess. You knocked down that cabinet so it blocked the door, and that way no one could head back and see moves getting into position. With that done, you legged it towards the conservatory, the true scene of the crime. This, like, Charlie stops in place and kind of actually starts kind of pointing things out, gesturing with his hands to point out exactly where things are happening as he's going along now. There, you cornered poor Vic. Pretending to be all worked up over your mistake, you got him to try lifting your spirits with his famous party trick, separating his lineup from his color, which, by the way, something only UPAians can do. That's when you struck with the murder weapon, a flower vase. You trapped Vic Tim's color in the vase, and then used the transport tube to send his liner all the way back to the ballroom, making his own gag be the death of him.
So that's why I couldn't drink it.
Kid, don't just go drinking things that look colorful. It's not a good idea. It's really not. Trust me.
It was just so pretty.
Just assume all of it is blood.
I wasn't gonna be that dire.
Now you're thinking that I wouldn't drink blood?
Charlie is now just backing away from Snail.
If you look closely at the engineer, he's got his hand over his mouth like he's thinking very hard, but his shoulders are shaking. He's trying so hard not to laugh.
Oh, wait,
Larry tries to make a, like, surreptitious gesture at Shorts. It's like, script.
Shorts kid looks over at Larry and it's just like, what? Does your neck itch? Okay, and then they just decide to get up and they're standing now, they're very serious. Page 13, there it is. But you're a human, so you couldn't go through the Tubi thing after that, dude. Or you'd have gotten, like, super dead, like, maybe deader than, like, Mr. Tim, who I did not drink and didn't want to drink, I swear. So, he's totally all the way dead right now, but, like, not forever, because we still have the flower vase. And Shorts kid, like, says, not on us, but, like, it's in, like, the evidence room with so that's why it was important for moves to make it into the ballroom all sneaky without, like, anybody noticing. He waited there for the dead body to just kind of plop, and then he moved the body into the library. And then moves went back to the bathroom, and he washed off any of the, like, blue paint, blood, drink, or chalk lines or gross bits or whatever. And then he took the tube over to the dining car, and from that, you all know what happened. All the stuff that happened. He got Kit to come with him so that she could be there and all surprised with him when they found the body. And that was just enough time to hide the murder weapon in the garden, which means the culprit
is
you, Dorothy.
I love that was
that
so
was
out
never
of
gonna work. Just because of, like, audio delay, that was never gonna work, but I love you all anyway.
I think
We all
that works.
tried very hard.
I think that works because this is such a, like, now really obviously, like, kind of ham acting cheesy comedy murder. So yeah, you all deliver this line not simultaneously, and at this point you actually hear an audible from the engineer, and And Cuisine Kit actually gives you a round of applause, even though she's not meant to. And Dora Z and DJ Grooves look at each other and then look away from each other like, oh, they caught us! Curse you! And we would have got away with it too if it hadn't been for you troublesome kids and all of this. And yeah, you got it right. I have to, at this point, as the DM, say I'm so proud because I gave them the option as players to have, like, hints. If they needed help, they could contact me at any point. And they didn't need me at all. They solved it all by themselves. And then some. I'm just... yeah! You're really good at this! And I'm also glad I didn't make it too confusing. So, yeah.
We love you and your
really good at running this also, by the way.
Oh, shucks, thanks. But, you know, this actually does have repercussions because at the end of this, you will get a reward. And depending on how many hints you used, you would have got less. So you get the maximum amount because you didn't use any of your hint coins.
Bitchin'.
Yeah, man. So,
We're
yeah.
gonna have so many picker-rats.
Yeah, so many picker-rats. Top score. You get the gold top hat. But yeah, Professor Layton references aside, you solved the mystery, and you can hear a sort of like, well, not hear, but you sort of see this sigh of relief come out of the engineer because you actually got it right. However, hang on, what I meant to do was do a little passive perception check for you guys. That's an 8, so you all basically notice as you're doing this, but again, the facade has kind of dropped a bit, so everyone's kind of a little loosey-goosey. While you're doing this reveal, not only is DJ Moves quite impressed with you for doing this, because, you know, he was like, no one's going to be able to do this. The engineers made this way too convoluted, but you actually got it, so you see his little, their big yellow eyebrows kind of raise up slightly above his shades, so you've earned kudos with him. But also Dora looks amused for, like, yeah, a split second where you're a little puzzled why, but yeah, she's a little bit drunk, so you put it down to that. And yeah, they say, curse you! Oh, darlings, how could you betray us like this? Oh, DJ Moves, I don't know what I'm gonna do. They're gonna send us to jail. Oh, I know, darling. I'll remember you always. It's all very dramatic and silly. And the engineer says, oh, well done. I'm so proud of you. I knew you could do it the moment I laid eyes on you. I thought these were completely randomly selected winners of the tickets for this prestigious train, which is not owned by anybody named Screamer Conch. They were definitely going to solve this mystery. Oh, but Vic, of course, we've got to bring him back into the scene. Go and get his containment vessel back, would you, please? And one of the owls, who has been standing guard at the door, nods and disappears and comes back very quickly. You know, the vase was in a very far off carriage. It was like the next up to the engine room, and the amount of time this owl disappeared for strongly implies that the vase was actually just like outside the door.
Shorts Kid is currently next to Dora Z and Grooves and is saying, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you can say will be used against you in a court of bird law. And also, you guys did a pretty good job with your murder. Good job, but we figured it out, so we did a better job. Are the handcuffs too tight? Because I don't know how to apply these things.
DJ Moves is trying to let you put the handcuffs on him, but he's a penguin, so they just slip off his flippers. It's not working, but it works very well, again, for this comedy scene. So the owl brings this vase in and hands it to the engineer, like they had definitely not rehearsed. And the engineer says, well, this was an eventful trip in ways that I did not fully anticipate, but my goodness, it's been entertaining. All right. Well, I'm sorry the professor didn't make a reappearance. I'm a bit surprised about that. But I think it's time for Vic's reappearance. And he raises the vase up and says, all right, Vic, we'll come back to the land of the living just as the professor comes in. And you have this sort of semi-slow motion situation where the professor comes in, sees what's about to happen, and puts a hand up and says, nah! And then it goes into slow motion. And the vase tips, and the blue liquid tips out, and it hits the floor in the middle of this chalk outline, and the colour floods to the edges and over the edges, and this liquid pulls out, and the white X of Vic's eye floats to the top of this puddle and is held aloft by the surface tension for a moment before it sinks into the thick pile carpet beneath your feet.
It kind of looks like you spilled him.
Is he okay? And Snallion is like instantly gone from full on acting to like actually horrified, because that clearly was not what was supposed to happen.
Larry, can you make me a dex save?
Charlie is immediately racking through his spells trying to figure out something to like maybe stop the liquid from soaking into the carpet, but
unlikely. Larry, can you make me a dex save? Dun, dun, dun. We are typing. A 20! Gorgeous!
Dirty 20.
In a beautiful, sort of graceful tango sweep, you catch Cuisine Kit, who has just fainted outright. So you succeed in preventing her from hitting the floor, but simultaneous to this, you hear a thud as the vase hits the floor, and the engineer's hand has just gone numb, and he is looking onto this scene aghast, and the chalk outline has blurred where the water has gone over it. And he says in this sort of small, rather unusually shaken voice, "Victor?" And there is no response.
Shorts Kid walks over after having unsuccessfully handcuffed the baddies and leans down, pokes a finger into the puddle of blue, and then uses mending, which is a cantrip to fix things that are broken or otherwise dissembled.
God, that's really sad. Oh no, that's really sad on multiple levels, because not only does this definitely not work, when you stick your finger into this liquid, I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh god. Well, it's because they've gone so well in the past. Oh no!
That's not great.
5.
That's a 5. Charlie, you are particularly interested in what happens. As her finger withdraws from the puddle, because I'm afraid, like Shorts Kid, you definitely would when you feel this sensation, you hear this kind of squeaky, cracking, drying sound, and your finger feels very strange. And it's like the stuff that you just stuck it in was too concentrated. Like, it looked like water, but there wasn't any water in it, and in fact it feels like it's leached some of your water into it, and your finger is sort of dried and set. Charlie, do you recognize this phenomenon?
Charlie probably does. I don't. I'm currently drawing a mental blank, other than I know it. This sounds definitely like something from one of your... is this the thing from the no, what are words?
What are words?
Is this the same water stuff from the theme park when we were going through that ride, and it was like acid instead, wasn't it?
It's highly concentrated paint. Highly concentrated paint.
That was it.
And what happened to you, Charlie? For those of you who didn't listen to the Inkwell is a Happy Place game, which is available on all audio devices on YouTube. Charlie got some of this stuff on him, and he basically half turned into a wooden marionette. It was a thing that happened. But however, while this is happening, there's been this silence, but it's broken by a sort of oh, darling, how's that for a genuine emotional response? And DJ is just laughing fit to burst at the engineer's response, and Dora similarly is kind of leaning against the bookshelf doing that helpless wheezing and the hand flap that, you know, when you're so consumed with laughter you just can't do anything else. And they are laughing up a storm. And indeed a storm cloud does seem to be gathering above the engineer's head. He does not look happy.
My hand itches.
I'm gonna say, as soon as Charlie recognized what that stuff was, he's got a water skin in his inventory. So like he would have pulled out a bottle of water and just splashed it on Short's kid hand to wash it off as soon as he could.
When you do this, the professor looks very interested because he was about to do exactly the same thing and has in fact, made his way over, but you get there first, and he looks up at you like, were you involved in that incident?
Yeah, help kind of fix it. I don't know what's been going on since then, but if it's back here again, just don't get it on you. No one touch it.
Yes.
I'm glad I didn't drink it.
Yeah, you would not have felt
Yeah,
well.
same here.
This is why I had to run that analysis again. I was expecting it to be someone else, and the professor is looking at the outline, as was prearranged, but this was not. What have you done? And he looks really serious and actually angry. You've never seen this guy angry. Like, on all of the television programs, all the lectures, he's been such a bonhomie, lovely, friendly, uncle to everybody guy, and he looks angry. So DJ Moves is kind of surprised by this response and puts his paws, his flippers, his hands, whatever you want to call them, up and says, "Oh, steady on, darling. I think you're taking this a little too seriously. You see, Dora and me were a little bit insulted by the motive that we've been given." And he gives a big side eye to the engineer, who does look a little bit guilty, but not enough to stop looking extremely pissed off. Anyway, we decided to get a little revenge. We decided to play a little trick on you. You see, it's really quite simple. When I received the outline, that wasn't Vic. This isn't Vic. And he's pointing at the outline on the floor with the chalk eye X, which is still kind of like oozing to the side. Is like, well, you see, well, you almost had it, sweetheart. You see,
Where is Vic?
Oh, he's hiding in here somewhere. He's probably that set of blue books up on the shelf. You know, a UPN can change shape real easy. They're playing hide and seek with a UPN, you're gonna lose. You don't have to worry about a thing. But when he's like trying to reassert the fact that Vic is hiding, the professor is shaking his head and then looks to you, Larry, because you're like the figure of authority in this group of detectives. Basically,
Larry is the.
It's true.
It's true.
It's
but
true.
Only brain cell.
It's your designated adult.
Except for mine, but I was loaned that one.
That's true. You were very much given that one, but you still have that. Don't forget about it. But the professor looks at Larry and says, the chalk samples, one of them that you gave me was from this outline, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The professor looks at DJ Moves and says, this was Vic Tim. And this doesn't seem to register properly. Like, DJ Moves is just kind of like, nah, you're trying to play a joke on me now. But Cuisine Kit has come to, thanks to your catching her. She didn't concuss herself. And she's sort of saying something in a muttery way.
Larry leads in to try and hear what she's saying.
I'm not going to make you make a perception check. She's just saying, the eye wasn't, when I saw it, it wasn't an X. And DJ Moves actually hears this and says, well, that's right, darling, but that's why I know can't be Vic Tim, because when I saw it was a line, and now it's an X, and now, like, the puzzle pieces are starting to click together in his head very slowly, and he's like, well, I assume that, Vic, he's such a joker. He must have drawn it. That's right. He drew it, and then he's put an X because
you just murdered a man. Like, actually, I mean, murder happens, but I think you accidentally murdered a man.
I don't think it was accidental, right, Dora Z?
Dora hasn't been saying anything because she's been, as it were, doing this laughing so much that she can't talk thing. And it really does seem to be fairly genuine because she sort of goes and gives DJ Moves a huge shove between the shoulder blades so that he goes toppling over, like, basically rolls across the room because he's such a spherical designed character, and comes to a stop. Comes to a stop near the engineer, who does not help him up. And yeah, that was a mean shove. Yeah, what do you say to her?
I think before Snailian says anything, actually, they're gonna try and like pull out the rope because they have access to all this stuff and try to like fish what's left of the outline outside. Like if they can keep him from dead dying, even if he's like hurt, they can fix it. But if he dissolves, he's gone.
Okay, you can. I'm gonna make you. This is such a roll. Like, what do you roll to do this? Is this sleight of hand? Because it's like a dex thing.
I mean, there is a medicine skill.
Yeah, I'm like,
Okay,
I'm pretty
medicine.
sure this would be medicine.
Yeah, make a medicine check. That's exactly what you should do. Thank you, brain cells.
Dirty 22. Thank you.
22. Yeah. So the result of that 22 is, Snailian, you pick up part of the outline, and either side of it breaks. And any place that you try to pick this up, it breaks. And that cross for an eye is, like, really looking like a permanent fixture. And Dora sort of is giggling now and is pointing at it, and she's, it's really funny. There's only 2 occasions. Did you know this? There's only 2 occasions when a toon has a cross for an eye. And do you know what those 2 things are? How about you, Charlie? Charlie, you tell me.
Well, first up, if he's dead. For another, if he's... Did you get him drunk? Did you poison him?
Well, I suppose you could say he's been drunk, all right. Oh, hey, Professor. I loved your lectures on color. Hey, what you get? And she's pulling out a hip flask when she says this while swirling her cocktail. She says, what do you get when you mix blue, and she looks at Vic, with green? And she's pouring something green from that hip flask into the cocktail. And it
Stop.
It sort of hisses when it hits the top of it. And it glows this amazing turquoise glow that you saw the first time that she was making this cocktail.
Oh God, I did drink him!
Can someone please hold Charlie back, because he is legit about to just like leap on her without thinking about it, please?
I can't believe I actually drank a man!
Actually, you didn't drink a man. You drank a purple thing right at the beginning, which was not a dead toon. This is a dead toon.
Thank God.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have done that to you.
Shorts kid drinks a man. Jesus.
Snailian's like, if we can make her throw up, then it might be okay. If we got a stomach pump, there's things for when you've drunk too much. We can, and they're like so focused on if they can fix this, because like they don't have any other idea what else to do if this isn't fake.
Shorts kid, after thinking that they accidentally almost drank a man and realizing that they didn't, just says, so that's where he is then. He's currently in you. So all we have to do to fix him is get him out of you, right?
Is anyone holding Charlie back?
Oh no, buddy. Get him.
Larry, what about you? You've been awfully quiet. Did Uni die?
Oh no.
Oh, Uni didn't die. Larry just very quietly processing
Larry is a man of few words.
this absolutely bananas turn things have taken.
Okay.
He goes,
Okay, if no one's
Wow.
holding
No.
Charlie back, then he's just gonna fucking pounce on
No.
Dora.
Larry's
And,
just talking slowly. Larry's just talking slowly.
Sorry. Sorry.
Now that is truly a cliche. Humans are just the worst.
I mean, he's not gone for, like, good. He'll be okay. We know how to get him back.
I'm actually going to make the engineer try and hold Charlie back because he would actually do that. So what, do I have to roll strength, or shall I just do that?
You can just do that. If Charlie has someone to kind of like mentally hold him in check, he will not leap. He won't like go pushing past him. So like an arm in front of him will do.
Yeah, you feel this stocky, really surprisingly tough arm come across you. And when you lifted him up before, you know, when he was your worst enemy a couple of minutes ago, he was surprisingly light. You know, he is a bird, he has hollow bones. But when you did get a feel like this thing is built. This creature can like wreck shop if it wants to, and it is very calmly holding you back, despite being quite a lot shorter than you, because an engineer's job is to look after its passengers, and he has regained some of his composure, but there is a sort of grim quietude about him now. And I apologize to everybody, because you actually almost solved this. I actually had to put the brakes on these players, guys, everyone who's listening, because they almost solved the fact that Vic was in the cocktail shaker. They actually almost did that. And I feel bad for having to, like, step in, but I still wanted this to be a surprise, so please forgive me for doing that.
Oh, of course.
This is entirely valid. This is great. This is terrible. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
I think Snallion is actually going to look at Ludwig and say, Ludwig, what does happen if you alter a UPAN's color?
Ludwig does not correct you on his name because everybody gets it wrong. He's used to it.
I'm so sorry.
He sort of takes his glasses off and polishes them in basically a funereal pose. Is like turpentine acetone benzene. It is the only way to kill a toon. You may not know it by that name, but for most of the world it is known universally as dip. I believe that is what is in your flask, is it not, madam? And Dora does a little cheers with her cocktail towards the professor. You did it, you clever little duck. And the engineer is, for the first time, finds his voice and says, "But why murder Victor Tim? He was just a harmless linesman. You had no actual motive. I gave you that motive." And Dora looks bored.
Again, he's not actually dead.
Oh, he is so dead.
I mean...
He's incredibly dead.
He is extremely dead.
He's so dead.
Shorts Kid is just like, death happens. If he was super murdered and all that, then I would have been murdered now by like 10 times over. This is super fixable. Like, super duper fixable.
Larry lays a hand on Shorts Kid's shoulder, and he shakes his head and goes, You don't come back from getting dipped.
And Shorts Kid is like, I break time and space regularly. And just says, then turns to Train Dad and is like, you know those movie props that you once, that you still have, actually? Because, like, you haven't given me all of them back. Can I have one of them right now? They're called space bars.
The engineer looks distraught and he shakes his head and he says, "Haven't I got any? They're back in the studio." And he's still, like, looking at Dora, expecting an explanation. And at this point, I apologise again, because it is time for the monologue! So I'm going to be having to talk for a long time. I apologise, but we'll get through this.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Good.
Having questioned her, like, why she's murdered, this completely harmless toon who did nothing to her, Dora just looks utterly bored and looks at the outline, like, disgusted. "Oh, that irritating little man? I couldn't care less about him." No, you big silly. This And Dora is glaring at both the engineer and DJ Moves. This is all about you. Dora sneers at everyone in the room, including you four. This is about all of you. DJ Moves pulls himself to the upwards from the floor. I was about to say to the floor, and that doesn't make any sense. But he stutters and sweats literal bullets which ping as they hit the floor. He's like, darling? And he looks really hurt because he was actually genuinely a huge fan of Dora, as are many Toons. But Dora throws the last of this drink down her throat before throwing the glass on the floor. Toons, you're all the same. Always taking us honest, real kind actors' work. Just 'cause a Toon can do what a real kind can, except without breathing, and they get all the best roles. Why, we real folk get to play what? The straight man, the villain, she shudders, love interest. Ugh, they tried to pair me with a bee in my last movie. Can you imagine the humiliation? Oh, how I hate you Toons. Oh, but you, a pair of Toon directors? You two are the worst of all. And the engineer and DJ Moves look at each other in bewildered shock, then back at this hateful glare that Dora Z-Scale is sending their way. You know, a long time ago, when Toonkind came to Ankwell, they got mixed reviews. Some folks would just loved you from the start, but a lot of us real people always thought that you were kind of off. Didn't work right. Shouldn't be. But time passed, and well, bygones were bygones for most people, and boy, you had to admit, those Toons sure could put on a show. She begins pacing up and down, looking increasingly sour, and her voice has lost any of the sweetness that it had at the beginning of this journey. And then those clever little Candlestick Lumiere brothers went and invented film. It was hard enough for a real kind bard to get a look at Edgeways before that, with you and your elastic acting capacities. Oh, Toons! They're so empathetic. They connect with the audience. They can easily convey complex emotions and philosophical concepts to a wide spectrum of viewers. Pah! As if we couldn't do all that before your kind came along. But when I got my first big break, I beat you. I beat the system. Sweet little 16-year-old me up on the silver screen with my adorable steel soldier, the raggedy scarerook, and of course my lovely big old cuddly cowardly tiger. Oh, people adored me. Dora Z-Scale and the marvelous magician of Woz in glorious Technicolor was the biggest film since film had been invented, and not a Toon in sight. I thought then, perhaps, just perhaps, this was the turning point, that this was where us real kind actors would get our revenge. Her shoulders slump, suddenly, her expression of wild glee melting into bitter contempt. But it was worse on the screen than on the stage, and my success became a ball and chain. After that picture, everything I did just wasn't as good or wasn't the same. I was too famous. Typecast for life. I even got paired up with Toons to try and make things work, because, you know, apparently I wasn't good enough for those hack job producers by myself. She glares indiscriminately around at you all. Working with your sort, scurrying and screaming and bouncing around me all the time. Is it any wonder I couldn't put my heart into the work I got? The years rolled on, the reviews got meaner, and the opportunities became fewer. And all the time, just to rub it in, you two were pouring out film after film, hit after hit, winning award after award after award. And the last words are singularly directed at the engineer with such venom it's a wonder he doesn't take damage from poison. But Dora finally stops and straightens up with a triumphant, snarling savagery in her eyes. Bah, Toonkind. Why, you're not a real species. You're not even a medium. You're a genre. And now you can all be horrified and indignant.
You
I don't know what
murdered
that
a
is,
man.
but I feel insulted.
Charlie is ready to kill a bitch right now, so like I still hope that the engineer is still holding him back.
He is, but not with much enthusiasm.
No, you listen to me. And Snailian is like furious. I have only just come here. I had almost everything to my name taken from me because I happened to fall from the stars, and that was wrong and bad and funny and silly and goofy. But you listen to me. That doesn't mean that I judge every single person who is a police person because they're not all the same. You think you can judge every single person who has ever made a movie just because they aren't like you? Because they aren't like you, that makes them wrong, that makes them evil and bad, and that makes it so that you can kill a person. How dare you? And she looks disgusted and said, if you think Toonkind are abominations, well, maybe you should consider that if real kind are so great, you're an abomination to real kind.
Oh, go off, Snailian, that was amazing.
That's pretty backed up.
Holy hells.
Whoa. Anybody else want to contribute?
Shorts Kid
Larry, go
clapped.
ahead, Shorts Kid.
And then walks over to Dora and gently takes her hand and says, you said you didn't like getting typecast, but you kind of cast yourself as the villain.
She whips her hand out of yours and is like disgusted and is going to try and kick you. Please make a dex save.
Good thing I'm good at that. I'm gonna roll with acrobatics.
Nice.
That's a 25.
Where is that? It's not in the game zone.
It's in the chestnut gallery.
Chestnut gallery, sorry. I fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dirty 25.
You do an amazing backflip, which is just as well because the engineer was about to throw himself in front of you, but you get out of the way and he's like relieved and also like he's like beyond emotion right now. He has no idea what to do with himself. Larry, you were about to say something.
It's like I said, it's extremely cliche. It seems like all the humans are just villains these days. And he pulls out his banjo, and he gives a sort of little twist at the what's it?
The tuning thingy. Yeah.
And suddenly, the supports all along the round of the banjo turn into very elongated spikes.
What?
And he wields that thing like a club.
Yeah.
And he launches at her.
Okay.
Yes!
Yeah, surprise attack. Roll to hit.
Oh yeah.
Can I interject with Shorts Kid uses hold person on him?
Really? Why? I mean, you can.
Because you're trying to attack this lady, and yeah, she murdered someone, but like, we kind of need her in one piece to get back the dude.
I mean, he's not planning on bisecting her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, actually,
That's
no.
fair.
I'll say that this works for dramatic effect because guess what? She's not finished talking. So just to delay the inevitable conflict, which will totally happen, you'll get your chance to kick her butt. Don't worry about it. But Larry, you do this awesome swing and it stops just before it hits her between the eyes, and she tosses her head. This is Dora, not Shorskin. Who's a they, he, she? I'm not sure anymore, but I love them.
Shorts
Dora...
Kid is whatever you want them to be.
Yeah. What's a gender anyway? Dora tosses her head rebelliously in the face of this imminent threat, like completely fearlessly. She says, "Say what you like, do what you like, but I've already won." Because after this, she laughs, gesturing at the engineer in a dismissive wave. Him? He's finished. The great engineer, the movie-making monster with an unbroken winning streak of over 40 years, the most beloved, famous, outlandishly, toonishly Toonkind director in all of Inkwell, wrecked, ruined, brought to his knees in the scandal of the century. And you can practically see the background behind the engineer crack like a pane of glass and fall away, his jaw slackening in an expression of dawning horror as he realizes the truth of what Dora is saying. Oh, just imagine a murder, a real one, happening right under his nose on tape. all because he wanted to play at making movies instead of doing his job. The papers will have a field day. Oh, and I'm sure your cute little fluffy duck of a financier is going to be thrilled by that. How much do you owe him already? You sure jumped right in line when he asked you to drive this train as a little publicity stunt for its opening voyage. But I don't think it was as no favor to a friend. Oh, dear me, no. And I know that for a fact, thanks to our late loose-lipped linesman here. She gestures at the still white outline of Victor Tim on the ground, and then scuffs it viciously with her heel, scattering chalk. And she returns her glare to the engineer's face. You're on the verge of bankruptcy. Even if you survive what comes next, your reputation, your career, and your precious Dodo studio won't. Certainly not when Screw McCodger, the great and terrible, learns about what you did to his brand new, extremely expensive Taffy train Cross-Continental due to your negligence. And then she smiles at Woodlig sweetly before adding, not to mention how you've endangered the life of his dear friend, the professor, and everyone else on board. The engineer is still reeling from the onslaught, manages to shake his head and look puzzled. Wait, in danger? What the peck are you talking about? Everybody make a dex saving throw.
Oh, okay.
Including the engineer.
I was about to say, before she says that Shorts Kid uses hold person on her also.
I mean, I'm not sure.
Charlie failed.
I'm not sure I can allow that. It depends how you do on this dex.
9.
Okay,
yeah, roll dex and we'll see. 13 isn't gonna do it. I will say a 13 is not gonna make it. All of you who got under 15 are thrown violently against the bookshelves, and the bookshelves upend their books onto you. The engineer does manage to not be completely thrown out of order, but it's partly because he's dived on top of you, Shorts Kid, so you don't take any damage. However, those of you who, again, were underneath of 15, you take 2 bludgeoning damage, all of you.
Question, and I'm probably gonna regret this.
Yes?
Charlie did get a crit fail.
Yeah. You take 4.
Okay.
well, also, in the case of Larry, he didn't get, thrown because he was literally frozen in space.
Yeah.
Due to the magic, but as soon as Shorts Kid ran, got sort of tackled to be not crushed by books, they let go of hold person by accident. So now Larry is free to move as he pleases.
He is, except that the entire train has just lurched and cracked up and down like a whip, as if the taffy train has just hiccuped violently. Hiccuped violently. That's really hard to say. Writing it down was a lot easier than saying it out loud. Go figure. And Dora laughs with a distinctly unhinged air as Otto begins barking and snarling while the lights flicker on and off. Oh dear, it sounds like somebody aboard your lovely little toy train might have, gummed up the works. Better run along now. You've already got one body on your hands. I'm sure you wouldn't want to be responsible for any more, would you? Oh, but then again, she shrugs, I know how fond you are of explosions. The engineer pauses with an expression somewhere between terror and absolute fury as the pained scream of the taffy train's whistle echoes through the carriage, and then he vanishes through the door towards the source at a speed that defies the laws of physics. And Dora turns towards DJ Moves with a triumphant sneer as the door closes behind the engineer. Oh, and as for you, darling, well, don't you worry none. You'll get your just reward for being such a big fan of mine. Although I do have to apologize. You see, that soap I asked you to get your penguins to put in the gumball fuel caddy. You know, that cute little practical joke I suggested to get your own back on the engineer. It wasn't just bubblegum scented. DJ Moves' face slips from almost hopeless to completely hopeless, his star-shaped sunglasses falling off his face as he realizes what he's done.
Oh, and please do thank your little penguin friends for being so obliging as to help me bring all my large, heavy luggage on board without checking what or who was inside it. It was so helpful. Isn't that right, boys? She calls the last words over her shoulder as the door shudders with one blow, two blow, and then on the third, a shining silver axe blade cleaves straight through it. Please roll initiative.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
Is kind of distraught because they're just like, damn it, this is like another time that someone has tried to kill me because of like offense at someone else. And they look at Dora and they're like, again, not doing so good on the not making yourself a villain thing.
Yeah.
I'm still not totally mad at you. I've had like worse, but you really gotta try harder.
Okay, this is the part which I have to ask you all to help me keep track of who's in what order. So, is that all of you that's rolled initiative? Okay.
Yes.
Don't forget to roll
So
yourself,
it looks
though.
like
Oh, I'll get to that in a second, because this combat is going to be a little bit interesting, and I also have to ask you like some questions before we go into it, just to see how it's going to play out. So at the moment we've got Charlie in the lead, and then we've got... Oh, you've written it down for me. That's kind. Oh, you've written... Wow! Okay, that's a different character. Nearly. Close but no cigar. Larry is now a rabbit. Sorry, someone put Waz instead, who is
could be. You
one
still
of
don't
Uni's
know
other
what's under
characters.
that mask.
It was Wazzle all
It
along!
was. Who knew?
This is what he does in his downtime. It's
I
fine.
am being mercilessly roasted.
It happens.
You deserve this.
It's what
You made a
happens.
mistake in the group
Oh,
chat.
how the turntable.
Typo in the group chat. You fucked up now.
Oh no, you fucked up. Okay, actually, I'm going to request a quick little break because I am parched, so I need to take a drink after that huge monologue. Thank you for being so patient. But I also need to stretch my legs. Yeah, so I'll be back in a minute. You can all discuss how horrified you are, and again, I'm sorry for like preventing you from fully solving the murder, because you basically were already on the right track. You did it. Okay, back in a minute.
True, we did come up with it.
You did.
Wow.
Well, now I'm disappointed unless Maud has something else up her sleeve, because she privately said like, DJ Moves gets to have a song, and I was like, hell yeah, and it's like, oh shit. Never mind.
Well, bold of you to assume that Dora Z won't start singing as she starts trying to whack us.
She has gone full Wicked Witch of the West, so we'll see.
Right. Does she have ruby slippers we can steal?
And I mean, also, like, bold of you to assume that Maud won't make another game that has DJ Moves where he can have his own song.
I know, but I was hoping for dueling musicians.
Oh, that would be so good.
Short Kid is just very much like, yep, same shit as always.
Looks like it's Tuesday.
Yep. It's Wednesday, my dudes. No problem.
I'm so excited because Snailing is going to be so mad. Oh, also, thank you guys for letting me, like, go off.
Snailian's monologue was legit the best thing I've ever heard.
It was
great.
Delightful.
It was literally me going off the cuff. They would be very horrified by this. They would be mad and say something.
You did so good, though.
Oh, this is about Snailian's speech. Yeah, that kicked butt. That was really good.
Just everyone's like all angry and stuff at Dora, and like rightfully so. And I'm just thinking, Shorts Kid is like, I've been murdered like multiple times, at least like 3 times by people I've considered friends or acquaintances. So this really isn't new. Sometimes people just try to murder you and then you're the best of pals afterwards. So like,
not gonna
I don't
happen
know
with
what
this
you
one.
guys are all freaking out about. Let's just break space-time and get in that.
Oh no. Oh honey.
I mean, to be fair, Shorts Kid, we're Toons. Of all people, you should understand that it's worth getting a little bit emotional about shit going down.
Like I gotta say, Charlie's main reason for being completely like outraged and terrified and angry at the moment is because like his boyfriend is a UPAan, and now he's just kind of got this image of his head of like, oh shit, what if this oh no.
So no, I didn't even
God,
know
that's
that.
so fair.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Oh, that's
now
really
Charlie
heavy.
has to go make out with his boyfriend for science.
Yep. I mean,
boy.
like, on the other hand, he's got new ideas for various cons they can pull together, but also he's terrified and furious.
I will say, like, in my head canon, like, UPANs are very, you know, loosey-goosey with their outlines and their colours, but not all of them can separate their outline completely from their colour, which is why this party trick was kind of impressive, even to UPANs. But Vic could only do it for a certain amount of time, and it would become very uncomfortable after a while. So, yeah. He's not gonna have to worry about that now, though. He's dead. He's really dead. Okay, so here's the thing. I have some very simple questions with yes or no answers, and depending on this, will sort of affect how this fight goes. So my first question is, do you want to fight her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shorts Kid doesn't really, but she also just said that she was gonna straight up fuck up Train Dad, which has firmly put Shorts Kid on the side of, I don't want to hurt you, but also I think I'm gonna smack you.
Yeah,
We at very least have to incapacitate her and her clan that has secretly gotten on, because she said the word bombs.
Well, she didn't say the word bombs. But you'll figure out what's happened fairly shortly. Yeah, it's a thing.
What happens when you gum up the works of something that's powered by pop rocks and sugar?
Well, there's a lot of pressure involved, I will say that much. Okay,
Yeah,
so you all
kablooey.
want to go into a fight. That's great. That makes everything much more fun for me. But the other question is, do you want to help the engineer?
Yes.
Okay.
Snailian is committed to helping the train and is so sorry that they ever implied that the train was the murderer, because like they were so far off, and like every time there's been more information, there's been like more degrees of no, you are so far off. It's like first it started with train obviously couldn't kill them and is sad. Then it went to train is actively helping people, to train is being framed and is probably going to be destroyed if we don't fix it. And also Dorothy is trying to ruin Toonkind because she wants a better role.
Yeah, she's messed up.
I think Shorts Kid's priorities are, number 1, break time and space to fix Victor Tim. Number 2, maybe kick Dora's ass, and that's about it.
Well, I'm going to say straight up that the first isn't an option, otherwise all of this game would not even be worth playing, so that's a pass. Uni, are you...
The other thing I'm keeping in mind, like, and what Charlie has in mind if the train's possibly going to explode, is Charlie has currently 8 uses of Featherfall if he doesn't use up any of his other spell slots.
It may well
so
come
he
in
can
useful.
rescue, like, 8 people if necessary.
But there are a lot of penguins and owls on this train.
Yeah, that's a lot.
the problem.
Uni, what's your take on this? What does Larry feel right now? I can't imagine.
Fucking mad.
Okay, that's a summary. Yeah, fine.
That's an emotion.
That's a valid emotion. Very
He
valid.
wants to kick her ass.
Okay, so here's the thing. You want to help the engineer. So what I'm going to say is, you can fight these guys while you're going up the train. And there are two options to do this. Obviously, Charlie, you discovered one of them is that you can take to the rooftop of this train and take the conflict there. In fact, I should probably start posting things that would be useful, like, overhead map of the rooftop of the train. But that's also going to help if you take this conflict inside the train, because you can equally travel up the train. I'm trying to pin this message while I'm talking, which is quite hard. And you can take advantage, as it were, of the interiors of these unusual train carriages. I have not bothered to draw them all. I'm just going to say, like, for example, if you ended up in the bathing car, you would have a lot of water, and you could do stuff with that. It's going to be like that sort of situation.
But I think Charlie's been on the outside of the train. He does not want to do that again. And while it would be fun to push these guys off the side of the train, he doesn't want his friends falling off the side of the train. So,
don't we want to
he's
actually?
inclined to...
Sorry,
Oh, you finish.
I was just asking. Don't we actually want to keep Dora Z away from the engine, considering she's the one that mucked it up in the first place?
That's up to you guys.
If it explodes, she goes with it.
Yeah, it's very much it's gonna go, and the whole train is at risk right now, the entire thing.
So we gotta do that thing where we, like, turn off some of the cars so that we can save all the penguins, and then we go. I mean, okay, actually, I said that as a joke, but actually, if we remove everything from the bathing car, considering that, well, actually, from the library to the bathing car, that could probably save all of the people who are in the back carriages who weren't there for the dramatic reveal. But that also means we have to get past the people who are trying to break down the door.
I will say, in regards to that, there's one person who's extremely good and helpful and would be really, able to help you with decoupling carriages. Do you know who that guy is?
The engineer?
So, you have a multitude of options here, but basically to keep it simple, what I'm going to say is you can fight, so for each round of conflict, we'll move up a carriage. And it sounds to me like, with Charlie's testimony, that you don't want to be on the roof, which is difficult terrain. So, do you want to go through the carriages?
Let's go through the carriages, but Snailian is, definitely interested on getting on the roof if it means more people will be safe. So Snailian is willing to go on the roof, although they will fight wherever the fight is.
Okay, that leaves it to you, Larry, and Shorts Kid, basically. We'll go with the majority.
Shorts Kid is fine with wherever because they have a +6 to acrobatic.
What does Larry feel about this? Where do you want to be? Because the other option was that you could just stay and keep the conflict in the library, but I thought it would be kind of funny if we're, going up the train.
I mean, it's other people who are interested in helping the engineer. Larry's in the mode of, you guys go on ahead, I'll head off these assholes right here.
Actually, I will say that's an option. If one of you wants to keep them at bay, that will give other people the option of going ahead, making traps or whatever, and then, waiting for them to come up and meet those obstacles.
I mean, everybody else is actually more invested in directly fighting Dora than currently Snailian is. Snailian might start going up if all three of you want to, head them off.
Okay, so I think Shorts Kid is going to head up with Snailian to go help the engineer, which leaves Larry free to kick the ass of the various. And if I don't know what Charlie's doing. What is Charlie doing?
Charlie's doing everything he can.
He's doing the best he can. Okay. Does that 14 beat you, Charlie? I think it does.
My armor class?
No, it was for initiative.
Initiative, yeah. 14 is the same as my initiative. I've got a higher initiative bonus, though, so I would actually go first.
Yep, okay, that's fine. That means you go first. Sorry, this is me rolling for your opponents. So, at the moment now it's Charlie, Dora, then... Is it more bad guys after Dora?
It's also...
Yeah.
I would like to actually comment. Larry takes a glance at DJ Moves and he says, I think it's time for you to make your heel turn.
DJ Moves is about to say something kind of like as a reflex. He's so used to arguing with the engineer that his immediate response to any criticism is to fight back. However, his eye has caught something on the silver axe blade, and Dora's luggage was in the cargo hold. That silver blade is not exclusively silver at the moment, and he looks absolutely aghast and just nods silently, and he runs out of the same door as the engineer, but you can then see him go paddle, 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 paddle down the outside, around the carriage on the outside, because he's going straight to the cargo hold to try and fix whatever has happened to his beloved penguins. And he's closely pursued by Cuisine Kit, in fact. Vodlig gives you all a look and sort of is like, I think you guys can handle this, and runs in the same direction as the engineer did. So at this point, I'm assuming that you're going to decide what you're doing in conflict as it happens. At the moment, you only have Dora facing you. The other people who are present have not actually entered the library. So, Charlie, what are you going to do to Dora?
Charlie is going to do what he's been wanting to do for, like, the last 10 minutes or however long the monologue was, and he's just going to fucking leap at her, like, pulling his sword from nowhere as he goes, and he's gonna try and stab her.
Please do that. This will be fun.
It's a 12. I don't think that's gonna hit.
No, definitely not. In fact, you
Actually, wait, no. I was gonna say, for the sake of dramatics, I'm gonna use. Can I use my inspiration point on this?
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, please do that. Yeah. Go ahead. You do double damage.
That's all right. How much do I actually? That's 1d. That's 16 damage.
She takes that, and she immediately looks like, oh, jeez. You know, she's like, she was like all ready to be all sort of sneery and dismissive of this pussycat who her dog dislikes so much, and you just wallop her real good. And she doesn't have anything clever to say. Whew.
Amazing. All right, before Charlie's turn ends, he's going to kind of like look back over his shoulder at Larry, holding his hand, massive snarl on his face, and just goes like, come on, we can do this. And Larry, you have Bardic Inspiration.
Yay! Hey. That's what bards do! I love it. Yeah.
Beauty.
Okay, so it is now Dora's turn. Oh, she's really not pleased with you.
Oh no, I didn't think so.
Here's the thing. I want you to make a wisdom saving throw, and you make this at disadvantage, and I will explain in a bit.
Oh no, Charlie's not good with wisdom.
You say you,
that's a critical fail!
Charlie, or do you mean everybody?
That's a critical
fail. Do I have to roll that second disadvantage considering I just got a crit fail?
You literally can't do worse than that. That's incredible. Okay,
I'm just kind of going like, I still have a luck point left. I'm gonna save it. I want to see what horrible thing happens here. Let's do this.
So here's the thing, Charlie. She's extremely pissed. She's so pissed at you. Wow. And she's been tolerating you this whole time because you barged in on her little nice fake dinner with DJ Grooves, which she was like going to enjoy giving him like subtle hints that she was going to murder you all, where, you know, you turned up so she couldn't do that and it sucked. And so you feel terrible suddenly. You feel awful. And the rest of you see this kind of red pixie dust outline Charlie for a second. And he goes sort of slack and his head sort of tilts to one side slightly and he sort of turns around and he looks a bit like, you know, vacant. And Dora says, you are just a piece of work, aren't you, Charlie? And, you know, I get the feeling that you didn't get along with the engineer. Isn't that right? And then you say this, and I have sent you what Charlie is going to say in a private message.
Oh, no. Oh, no. That old bird was such a con artist. I wouldn't put it past him to have rigged the train to explode from the start himself. We all know he'd do anything for a good shot. Something must have gone wrong with the stunt. That, or he was just too old to get it clear of it in time.
You see, it's this funny thing, like, all it would take is one little paparazzi with a recording device, and, oh, that would be all over the headlines. It's too bad he won't be alive to see it, but, his entire empire's gonna crumble just like that. And I'm gonna be around to see it. That's for sure, isn't it, boys?
And now it's the friends. Dora's friends have come to play, and you all know who these guys are. And shambling through the doorway, you have the gruesome, familiar trio of the Steel Soldier, the Scarerook, and is it a tiger? No, it's more like a lion. No, it's more like a bear. Oh me, oh my, it's all three. So you have...
Oh my god.
You have a scarecrow who looks like he was partly made out of a real person. And you have a steel soldier who looks like a badly fitting suit of tin, really like bad prop armor, and at the joints it's slightly open and you can definitely see something skeletal in there. And the tiger, oh, this poor beautiful creature, it was a tiger. You remember the tiger from the movie, and it was apparently so badly damaged by whatever's happened to it that parts of it have had to be replaced with a lion and a bear, and it is standing on two back legs, shambling towards you. And the first person who comes through the door is the Scarerook, and he reaches out his raggedy arm and he sings. Being undead is a drag, nothing like the life I had, but I cannot complain. I've got no free will, but I don't feel ill because I haven't got a brain. And his arm splits open and red poppies come flying out of it at you all, and you all need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Great, because I'm so good at these.
Yeah.
God fucking damn it!
That's a 6. Oh, a 20. Very good, Larry.
Oh, what's with all these crit fails? Why is Charlie getting all these ones?
You still have a luck point, I will remind you. So
at this point, I'm just pretty convinced that Shorts Kid is just, as most children, has a bad constitution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna leave it on that crit fail, to be quite honest, because considering Charlie just got, like, mind pecked by Dora, I'm gonna say he's probably not too good with countering whatever happens next.
That's very in character, and good for you. Unfortunately, Shorts Kid, Charlie, you're both fast asleep.
Yay!
Punk.
Yeah, you just collapse on the spot.
Child hitting the floor.
And you have this lovely poppy-scented dream, and you are just flat out on the floor.
Well,
yeah, that happened. Unfortunately, due to things, I have lumped all of these characters together. So now it is the Steel Soldier's turn, who looks towards the most obvious threat, who is Larry, and is going to take a swing at you, my friend. So I will roll to attack. Does that hit? I don't think it does.
That won't do it.
No, it bounces off you. It's like, well, maybe it doesn't even. I don't think it even gets close to you. And you get the feeling that this guy didn't put, like, all of his effort into that swing. On the other hand, there's another guy in the room. Oh my goodness, this guy is tall. Oh my goodness, this guy is big and scary. Oh me, oh my. Fortunately, you duck it. And this enormous paw, which, it's got stitches all over it. It's like, how is that thing holding itself together? And it smashes into the bookshelf. The real casualty of this is the complete collection of Steven Spielberg's autobiography, which is never going to be read again in that state, I will tell you that. All three of these minions have taken their turns, and now it is back to you guys. So it is Larry, your turn.
Well,
as I said, Larry's pissed.
Mm-hmm.
So what he's going to do is go into a rage.
Yes! Now you know why the
Nice.
bard doesn't do good perform rolls.
I never said he was a bard!
Oh!
I love this. I love this so much.
Oh.
Sorry, Mom.
I've been waiting for this. Okay, so yes, Larry lets out a feral scream. Like
Woo!
he's got a mask on, so you can't see his face, but you can tell there is something going on down there.
Woohoo.
And he launches himself at Dora.
Hey, good choosing. Yeah, so roll to hit. I mean, I guess you're like swinging to
Yay.
hit. Where we rolling? Yeah.
So,
When
Oh,
a
nice.
man sees zombie, he wears his Abercrombie with trouble and with pain.
Hey, listen! I wrote a whole song so I wouldn't use copyrighted music. Let's keep it lidded. I mean, that was beautiful though. I love you. Oh man. Also, do you know how hard it is to write a song that has a semblance to one of the most earbug like popular songs in the world? It was so hard to get anywhere close. Okay, yeah, she takes 12 damage and she's looking
no,
pretty.
actually 14 damage because I get
Oh,
plus
two
two
'cause-
more,
yeah, because of the rage.
for raging.
Oof, oof, oof. Yeah, she's like, she doesn't look good. She looks a bit sick. In fact, she's bloodied, and yeah, she's like, whoa. But it's not her turn, so she can't do anything about it. And it's your turn, Shorts Kid. Unless Larry, have you got any bonus actions you want to take?
Let's see. Oh, that's it for now.
Okay, good for you. That was very good. Yeah, Shorts Kid. now is the time to decide what are you going to do.
Well, they're
Snore.
asleep,
I'm
so-
asleep.
Oh, you're asleep. Oh, that's what you're gonna do. You sleep. By the way, you know this is sleep as in the spell sleep. So any of the rest of you, that being only Snail and Larry, if you shake these guys, they will wake up, but they will sleep unless they are disturbed.
Yeah, so just
Just keep that in
I'm
mind.
asleep.
Yeah.
Just picture me a zombie cutting through your skull right now.
Okay. Yeah.
I was gonna say, oh, I can't remember sleep off the top of my head, but can't you do like a will save to try it and break out of it as well?
I'm not even sure because usually you're using this against enemies. I guess I will do that to make it slightly more fair for the
sec.
players. So yeah, by the end of
I'm
this...
to kill you like I've never killed before.
Yeah, will you
And
stop
then
singing
I'll
copyrighted music,
And
please?
kill some more.
Oh my god! I went beyond.
It's like I could check the spell list.
It
Oh.
falls under parody because I'm enhancing it with my music.
YouTube doesn't give a shit! I've checked this! Oh my god, if this gets taken down, I'm gonna be so pissed. Anyway, never mind.
If it's under 10 seconds, you can have it in.
I don't know. YouTube is such a bloody minefield when it comes to this shit. Let's just, like, I appreciate the improv, it's beautiful, and any other time I would endorse it, but please, I want this audio to stay online. Okay.
Alright, fair.
Okay, we'll wait on the analysis for sleep, but I will be willing to let you do it.
Sorry, my
also.
internet's going slow at the moment.
It's fine, don't worry about it. But the next person in the turn is Snail, so Snailian, what you're up to?
Snailian's gonna do a whole lot this turn, but first, before we move from Shorts Kid, do you want them to do that saving throw, or do you want the official?
If they're gonna do a saving throw, it'll have to be next turn, which it isn't yet, so...
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So Snailian, who only got a little bit of ways, is going to look back and look at their spells and look at everything, and then they're gonna smack their helmet and they're gonna say, "Snelmet, parentheses, snail helmet, end parentheses." And their helmet is going to glow and start shifting around them. because their helmet is actually an animated shield, so they don't have to hold the helmet in order for it to protect them against attacks. However, the parentheses and end parentheses do have to be said aloud, so they have done that. Next, they're going to slink back, and they're probably going to, like, let me see. I think they're going to see. So that was a bonus action. Got one action. Sorry, I promise I'm deciding between two things, not completely aimless.
It's fine. Also, I will remind you, you all have movement. So if you want to use that movement, I have purposefully designed these carriages to be under 30 feet. So you can move to the next carriage when you've, like, done shit.
Except for the people who are fucking asleep.
Okay, so I think what Snailian is going to do is Snailian's going to move back and shake Short's kid. Do I have to roll for that?
No, that's a free action. You can just do that.
Okay, that's a free action.
Okay.
And then while they're still, like, on top of Short's kid and shaking it, they're going to use their actual action to brush Larry's pants leg and cast Protection from Evil and Good. Until the spell ends, one willing creature you touch is protected against certain types of creatures, and I am choosing undead.
Very good choice.
The protection grants several benefits. Creatures of those types have disadvantage on attack rolls against the target. The target can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed by them. If the target is already charmed, frightened, or possessed by any creature, the target has advantage on new saving throws. So I was going to do that with Charlie, but considering he's currently also still nullified, I figured it was better to protect Larry.
That was an excellent move for a lot of reasons. Hey, everybody for the team play there. That was really good. But not
Nicely done.
Not least because these guys are not, like, in command of their own intelligence, let's say, and they are basically programmed to attack the most obvious threat. And I have to say, Larry, you're the most obvious threat.
Yeah, he kind of brought that on himself, but it's cool. He is ready for a bloodbath.
Murder time.
Murder with Larry, our favorite program. Okay, so
I think Snailian's going to get right up to the door.
You can go through
with
it.
the rest of their move, but they're not going to move through it yet because they have one more spell they want to cast, but they don't have the time to do it yet. So they're sort of hunkering back, but they'll be back in before they go to the next carriage.
I gotcha. That's fine. Okay, and we are back around to Charlie, who is stacking up the Z's. Charlie, what are you dreaming about?
I think honestly he's probably having a nightmare in regards to everything that just happened and his boyfriend and all of that, frankly, because that's the big thing that's on his mind.
Okay, so you guys see Charlie doing the thing that animals do when they're asleep and they're dreaming, so his paws are doing the twitchy thing and his ears are flicking, and it's really kind of cute, except for the fact that it's also really sad, and you're in the middle of a fight! So, and we move straight on to Dora, who's like, oof. Like, oof. And she sings, well, it looks as if you tunes are quite strong for such buffoons, so I'll be moving on. I'll be back someday, better hope and pray that your luck will be as strong. And then she clicks her heels together 3 times, and she says, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. And on the 3rd click, there's no place like home. There's this puff of this ruby red, blood red glitter and smoke, and she's not there anymore, and neither is Otto. And Dora has left the room.
Charlie is just like Charlie is mentally swearing vengeance for the rest of his life. Just so you know,
in his dreams, literally. So yeah, Dora has ollied the fuck out, and now it is just her minions who are still lumbering towards you. And the first person in the order is the raggedy old Scarerook, and he brings one of his arms back and then throws it forwards. And he's throwing it at, interestingly, hang on, I've got to make a random roll with this one, haven't I? Oh, okay, Snailian. You have a hand on your face. Yeah, you basically... Oh, no, wait, I'm supposed to make you make a dex saving throw, and then you'll have a hand on your face. Can you do that for me?
I sure can.
18. You do not have a hand on your face, which is good because it would cover your entire self. So this hand goes flying past you, and then it does sort of the Addams Family scuttle on the floor, like it twitches one way and then the other, and then it scuttles off into a corner somewhere. Like it doesn't have a brain, so it's like it's just in the room now. That's someone's problem later on. Cleaning staff are gonna have a time. So
Probably my problem. Oh well.
But we're back to the Steel Soldier, who I was very tempted to call the Steel Samurai, but that gets complicated real fast. And
Samurai always wins.
And he's gonna take a good old swing and probably a miss at Larry, because you're still like right up in his grill. Oh, a 20.
Slice and dice.
Up.
Does that
Dirty
get you?
20.
Larry, does
All
that
right. Yeah, that'll get me.
Yeah, I thought it did. I have it written down, but I just want to be sure because you guys have like crazy bonuses, and barbarians, like, woo, they are fun. I am discovering that with the engineer. My goodness, they're great. Why have I not done these more before? Unfortunately, this means that you do take a 1d8 plus... Oh, heck. Yeah, you take 10. That's not too bad for you. But
I take 5 damage.
You take
I
5
take
damage.
5 damage.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
because
he's
I'm raging, and that halves everything.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Oh, did you roll with disadvantage? Because I also have that from the protection of good and evil. Since
Oh
it's
gosh, you're right.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Please remind me of these things while we're playing. 17. That doesn't make it,
yeah.
does it? Okay, for a second you feel like
No, that does hit. That his AC's 8.
oh yeah,
And you don't have to
it's
re-roll for
16.
that.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you do. You take 10. You take 10 damage.
No,
and
I still take 5
you still
because
take
I
5.
am raging. Which
Sorry.
has,
Sorry.
physical
I'm
damage.
looking at the literal numbers in front of my eyes.
You're doing fine.
So my brain and mouth are not particularly getting along at the moment. And I'm also thinking that the
Doing
next
so
thing that's
fine.
going to happen is that the other really big guy is going to take a swing at you because they don't have brains. But I will do disadvantage because, oh my goodness, it's just as well.
Ooh.
That was a nat 20, everybody, and it was a 24, which makes it seem even worse. 14, it doesn't hit. For a second,
Doesn't hit.
you get like this alternate universe sort of sixth sense of what might have just happened to you, where you are effectively disemboweled by this goddamn thing, and you step backwards and it just misses you. Like, you get a really cool, aesthetically pleasing slash across your jumper, which, really feeds into your whole look. You're probably kind of pleased about that. But you don't take any damage. In fact, you get +1 cool points. And that's the end of the bad guys round. So now it is Shorts Kid, who is awake now. Yeah!
Wait,
shook
is
you
it
awake.
my turn?
Oh.
Yeah, I shook you awake.
Yep,
No,
yep.
isn't it Charlie? Not
It's
Charlie.
Larry's
Isn't
turn.
it Larry's turn?
Oh, it's Larry's turn.
Yeah.
It's Larry's turn.
Yeah, I kept track of the initiative.
I'm sorry. My brain's running out of sugar right now. In fact, I'm going to have a sweet, so please ignore the really irritating rustly sound, because high chews, which are delicious, are impossible to open! Carry on.
Okay. So Larry is even more annoyed that Dora has vanished because, he will kick these guys' asses, but he'd much rather kick hers.
Mm-hmm.
But first things first, he will shift his stance, swing back his banjo, and give Charlie a rough little nudge to sort of knock him awake.
Much appreciated.
I'll say that's a bonus
Yeah,
action, but
and-
that's fine.
And then he will swing it around into, let's say, the scarecrow, because he can put people to sleep, and that's not great.
Yeah, the Scarecrow is actually one of the most tricky to deal with, so it's a very good idea to take him out. Said the DM who's not supposed to tell you this stuff, but
I was able to parse that together from context clues. 7.
You're so good as a DM.
What happens with this is you take a swing and you're sure that should have hit. You're really sure, and it should have, but his head comes up.
Hold on. I get advantage.
Oh, you get advantage. Damn it. Okay.
I was also going to say, you've got Bardic Inspiration as well, so you've got a D6 if you want it.
Yeah, that's true. All these things. Oh my god! Forget everything I was about to say. You just murder this thing, but tell me how badly.
Oh my gosh, that feels good.
Ooh.
So, let's see.
You get double damage for that too.
Yep,
I
we're aware.
sure do.
Ooh.
The neutral
That
face of
is-
pure rage.
12 plus 4, it's 16 points of damage.
You know what happens when you hit a hay bale with a car? Like this. Yeah, this guy like basically explodes, and yeah, you're covered again with these poppies, dried poppy flowers. But there's also this kind of crunch as it goes through him, and there was definitely a body in there. Like that was a skeleton in there somewhere. And yeah, that leathery surface was not entirely just canvas. Like, ooh, that guy was that.
And Larry just spits out. Ugh, we're all trying to be put out of our misery. May you go in pieces.
That was heckin' gross.
Whoa. Okay, yeah, you have successfully obliterated, I don't think there is any better word, this Scarerook, and he is out of the conflict, so you only have 2 of these minions left, in fact. And now, it is Shortskid's turn. I'm very sorry for getting that wrong.
Okay, Shorts Kid, casts, Melf's minute meteors.
Ooh, inside. This is going to be fun. Go on.
Yep. So the way that this looks is that Shorts Kid just pulls out their key, and they look at everyone and they're like, "You were right. I guess she wasn't tried to murder is actually friend, but is just tried to murder is actually enemy." I'm kind of surprised, but also I don't have really enough room in my brain to be surprised, or I think I'd freak out more. And Shorts Kid spins their key around and then jumps forward, and their eyes go starry, which is their pupils completely disappear and are replaced by space, like a nebula. And all of a sudden there's a flash of white and various like little meteors and stuff shoot out of the key and out of their chest and start swirling around them, and they're just like, so above, so below, I summon space, fuck you. I summon space, fuck you.
Here we go.
That was so beautiful.
And Shorts Kid uses 2 of Melf's minute meteors to attack the God, what's his name? The lion tiger bear?
Yeah, well, you don't know what it is because it's all 3. It's a lion, a tiger, and a bear. Oh my! And yeah, one of those. So what do I have to do? Like,
Is it a liger, maybe?
Do I have to do a saving throw? Or...
Yeah, your the attack saving throw is 12.
I mean, what do I roll? Like, is it Dex? Is it Constitution?
Yeah, it's Dex. It's Dex. Sorry.
Okay, I'm very sorry that you picked this guy. I mean, like, I really hope I do. Okay, 12. That's pretty crap. I mean, it meets yours. What does that mean?
The aggressor gets advantage, so they hit.
Yeah, sure. They hit this thing that did look like it was balletic enough to get out of the way. However, there's a part of it that doesn't want to, so you hit it.
Okay, so that means that this creature takes 2d6 fire damage
Okay, you roll that.
on a failed save per meteor, and I shot 2 meteors, so 4d6.
Mm-hmm. Wizards are great. Okay, that's an 11.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
afraid that really doesn't make much of a dent in this guy. He takes it, and he takes that,
Yep.
and he's slightly singed. It smells like burnt fur in here. It's not nice.
And then as a bonus action, because I get one of those, Shorts Kid is going to cast Expeditious Retreat, which kind of doubles my movement speed. So straight up, Shorts Kid casts Expeditious Retreat, then scoops up Snalian, and then dashes forward to the next car of the train.
Interesting.
And Snalian's like, no, we had a plan. But
Yeah.
after being picked up, they don't like fight to get off. So off they go.
Okay, goodbye, Snalian. And it is your turn
We're
next.
the squishy ones, okay? We could die.
Okay, so Snalian can't actually wake up Charlie, and they can't touch Charlie to catch protection from evil and good one more time.
Larry woke him up.
Charlie's
Larry-
already awake.
Larry woke him up.
Oh, Larry already woke him up?
Yeah.
Okay, but they still can't touch him,
No.
so they can't do the protection from evil and good. But they can throw over their shoulder Sanctuary. And I will do that for Charlie because Larry is already buffed up. You ward a creature within range against attack. Until the spell ends, any creature who targets the warded creature with an attack or a harmful spell must first make a wisdom saving throw. On a fail, the target must choose a different target or lose the attack or spell. It doesn't protect from area effects. And if the warded creature makes an attack, the spell ends. So you may have one free shot. Maybe you want to do some more trappy things, but the moment that you attack, the spell is over.
That sounds really complicated. I hope you guys followed that because I didn't.
It might only
That's
last for
okay,
one
I
round,
just know-
considering how mad Charlie is.
Okay. Well, it is
Shorts Kid
Charlie's
like,
turn
"Sorry,
next.
Alien, but we gotta get out of here." And they still have a couple of meteors going around them because you summoned 6 and they only used 2. So
Well,
they got 4
oh.
meteors left just in case they need to red shell someone.
Oh, dang. If something has, like, for the one action point, a 10 minutes action, does that mean I can't do it? Because I was going to do something really cool, but
I'm gonna let
it
you do
has-
something really cool. If you want to do something cool, I'm gonna allow it at this point. Like, come on, it's the finale. Whatever.
Okay, so Snalian casts Fine Steed.
Ooh!
You summon...
Yes.
You summon a spirit that assumes the form of an unusually intelligent, strong, and loyal steed, creating a long-lasting bond with it. It's a dragon.
Yeah!
It's a Chinese-style dragon.
What's its name?
Its name is Gregory, and it's very nice.
Gregory!
Oh my god!
One thing I will say is that a dragon inside this train is going to be tricky. I would suggest that you go outside if you're riding a dragon. But that's up to you, and I don't know if you're doing that this turn or next, because you've got Expeditious
Well, the other
Retreat
question is it a
happening as well.
No,
Is it a
yeah,
Snalian-sized dragon?
Shorts Kid ran out to the next car of the train. I was thinking that they went up onto the roof to get faster to the other end of the train, but I didn't actually say it. So I'm just like,
no, that works. Okay, so you are both, as it were, on top of the ballroom carriage right now, and you're close to the end of it. However, if you are there, I have to do a little bit of description stuff because every time that you've been going between these carriages, even though you haven't necessarily looked up, you've been constantly aware of this stream of candy floss smoke coming out over the top of this train, and it smells great. Charlie, you have less of a fond memory of this experience, but definitely experienced it. There is no cotton candy.
Oh, that's no good.
And you're moving very, very, very fast. So you're up there, and you have this dragon. What size is this dragon? Is it tiny? Is it huge?
So Gregory is about 3 Larry's lynx, and it's a Chinese dragon, so it's got the mane, and it's very thin, so it actually technically could have fit through the train, but like it would have been a real tight squeeze. And Gregory sort of pops up and starts going like, "Oh, hello, are you looking for some dice?" And Snailing's like, "No time, Gregory, no time. We need to go that way." And they point at the front of the train and they say, "Really fast. And if something gets in your way, you gotta turn, because we gotta go." And Gregory, like, takes off their little glasses and, like, puts their cup of tea down, and it, like, disappears because it's not, like, in this dimension. And they're like, "Well, very well." And they sort of, like, coil twice, around Snailian and Shorts Kid, and Shorts Kid, you find that underneath you is very supported by a couple of legs as they gently hold you, and then they go.
Ooh, I love Gregory. I really love Gregory. This is so good.
Gregory is extremely good.
Gregory oftentimes plays chess with Snailian and was very concerned when they didn't get update, and is now even more concerned because they have to go that way really fast, but they'll be along for the ride as long as 10 minutes last.
Okay, I'm gonna say, like, with a dragon, goddamn, that you accelerate from the ballroom to above the laboratory, so you've, like, covered another 2 carriages, and you're nearly there, you're nearly at the engine, but we zip back to the action with Charlie. What are you gonna do?
Okay, I'm gonna admit I have completely lost track where 90% of people are. The only person who I now know is Snailian.
It's okay. Charlie
Larry,
and Larry, you are both in the library still with the undead steel soldier and the whatever the goddamn hell that thing is.
Alright, okay, the fact that Larry is still basically right next to Charlie does make things difficult, although at the same time, are we a little bit spread out across the library?
I'm gonna let you decide. No, wait, you're not, because Larry kicked you to wake you up, so you're pretty close to him.
Alright, in that case,
punch your friends to wake them.
Yeah, Charlie's gonna kind of, like, he's gonna get up, he's gonna like look at Larry and goes like, "These guys aren't worth it, we've got to stop the train from blowing." And he's going to hold his turn until, like, Larry has moved away. Because, yeah, because the problem is, Charlie does not have very many magical attacks that aren't area of effect, and he doesn't have any way of, not hitting his friends during that, other than making sure that the friends aren't in the blast radius. So.
Okay, that's fine, and I do love it when players hold their action, because, yeah, it makes it so much more like this character is going to step back and let things happen, and that's what they're going to do, which is cool. I love it. Team play. However, that means it's my go. Oh no, it's the bad guys. And the next person in play is this steel soldier. Guess what he's gonna do? He's gonna swing his axe at Larry. Oh, it's so original, I know, but he does it with disadvantage as well. That's just not gonna do it. Just not gonna do it at all. I'm not even gonna bother rolling again, because that was an 8. But as his axe harmlessly sails past you and thuds into the floor, he sings in a tone of voice that makes you feel like that wasn't perhaps, like, such an accident as you might assume. When I died, I thought at last that my suffering had passed, but it was just the start. Though I don't feel pain, nothing's been the same since dear Dora stole my heart. Though we used to be friends, that chapter has been closed. Dear Dora killed and raised us, so now her will is unopposed. And that is what he does with his turn.
I knew that the fact that she was a necromancer couldn't just be, like, background information.
But you have to understand, like, I couldn't assume that any of you would pet the dog, so it had to be, like, not involved in the murder.
Yeah,
you couldn't assume that the 8-year-old wouldn't pet the dog.
I was really hoping someone was gonna pet the dog, and you did, and it was great.
Anyway, all right. What's the tiger, lion, bear? Oh my, up to?
You want to take a guess? Larry?
petition, we just call it the oh my.
The oh my!
Yes!
I love that.
The TLB.
Okay, so the oh my is actually not going to take another swing at you with its big old meaty paws. Rather, it opens its jaws and is going to try and bite you. Like,
Oh no.
that's a big old pair of jaws you got right there. Yeah.
Right, it's got disadvantage.
Oh my goodness, I'm
good.
I'm so glad.
Oh.
Snalian,
got disadvantage.
Snalian is the MVP of this, I tell you what.
Alien is a hero.
Yeah. Okay, that's a 14, yeah.
You'll make
Okay.
It does not succeed.
Oh, God.
These jaws.
That is 2 separate nat 20s that have been narrowly avoided.
Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you what, Larry, how do you avoid the jaws of death? Please tell me how this plays out.
It opens its jaws, and you know what? Larry will sort of parry it with his banjo and sort of like do that thing where it bars and holds it back.
Yeah.
And take advantage of the opportunity as it has that in its mouth to back up a step, pull out the other instrument that he has. He actually has a lot of instruments in his hammer space.
He
It
sure
hasn't
does.
come up.
Yeah.
But he pulls out his violin and readies the bow and launches it to fucking stab this thing.
But Larry, there's no cause for violins. Do I get inspiration for that? Do I get inspiration for the bad joke? No, I don't. Of course I don't. Okay, yeah, you
no,
do that.
you should get inspiration, but you can't use it.
I
But you
can't
have
use
to
it.
use it for the engineer.
Oh,
Yes,
I would
yeah,
love that.
you get
Engineer.
inspiration.
I'm not sure I can do that, but okay, yeah, you do that. Actually, yeah, no, I'm gonna give him inspiration for this game. I can't believe this.
Yes.
13. And wait, do I have advantage against it?
Snalian, does Larry have advantage?
Larry only gets people attacking him disadvantage. He doesn't get.
Okay.
That's a shame.
Well, but I did get the inspiration from Charlie, so I will use that to
Great.
turn that into a 19.
Oh
Remind
no,
me,
you have to roll a d6 and you add that.
Yeah. What?
Roll a d6.
Yeah. Which person were you attacking? Was it the soldier or the oh my?
The oh my.
Okay. Just checking. I love the oh my. That's a really good name.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, with that you definitely hit. You definitely hit.
yeah. Okay, cool. So it has been shot with, some might call it a crossbow.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Done.
Yeah.
But so that's d8 plus 5.
Mm-hmm.
Low
Yeah.
roll.
Well, I mean, it's a 6. You shoot it real good, and it gets stuck up its nose. It hates that. Okay.
I was gonna say, before Larry, before you end your turn, remember you did have Charlie kind of saying, "These guys aren't worth it. We need to go," and gesturing for you to run away.
Yeah. Are you gonna clear out?
Yeah, he. That's why he pulled out the crossbow. He's taking the opportunity to put some space between him and these guys.
Great idea.
Yeah, basically what Larry's doing is like he will still take the rear to slow these guys down if they take chase, but yeah, he has put some space for Charlie to do what he wants to do.
Okay, and Charlie, I'm going to assume you're taking your turn now.
Yes, please. And Charlie's going to cast Shatter, which I'm going to need like everyone within a 10-foot radius to roll a Constitution saving throw, please.
That's a really good idea, man. Okay, so that's
And now it's good that Short Kid and Alien have left.
say goodbye to the steel soldier, everybody.
Oh boy.
He will not be missed.
I wanna
Oh, they both
go.
failed. Yes, both
And
of
there's
my
like,
minions failed.
yeah. Okay, so that's 3d8 thunder damage for the both of them.
Yeah,
Yay!
okay, do that. You roll that damage.
Boop, boop, boop,
I'm still not
boop.
over Gregory, by the way. I just love Gregory. I want to draw Gregory.
Gregory is very good.
I will draw Gregory ASAP so that y'all have reference.
Yay!
Yay, Gregory.
Deeply irritated at that roll because that was a rubbish roll, but
That's a
they take 8
shame.
damage and they get oh, so to be fair, no, you don't.
Actually, I tell you what, because
Yeah, they take
the
I
steel
was like,
soldier.
they take 8 damage and then Charlie just gets the heck out of there.
That's a very good idea. But you know, the steel soldier rolled a 1, which is a critical fail. That means you gave him 16 damage. I'm saying that now. And he falls to pieces. And you hear this sort of collection like someone's thrown a bowling ball at a pile of baked bean cans, and it just falls apart. And you can see some bones sticking out, but like this was like a full-on skeleton wearing a suit of not very good armor, and you have just completely bowled him over. And we now return to Shorts Kid and Snalian, who are riding a goddamn dragon above a train that is fit to bust. So, basically, are you guys using your movement to advance as much as possible?
Shorts Kid is gonna hold their turn and let Snalian direct Gregory or do whatever their move they want to do.
Snalian is definitely going to go, come on, Gregory, we need to go a little bit faster. Thank you so much. I don't know exactly what you were doing, but we got to go. We got to go. And Gregory is like nodding along and like actually not responding because he's focusing so much on getting to the front of the train. And you get the feeling like these guys actually are decent friends. So that's why they're not doing the, how do you do? This is blah, blah, blah. This is blah, blah, blah. They like actually know each other well enough that this probably happens quite a bit, except for the whole everybody potentially dying and need to go fast part.
Yeah, that's a really good and cute scene, and I love this so much. This relationship has just already won me over so much. And because you're on a goddamn dragon on top of this train, I'm just gonna say that you can get pretty damn close. Like, you get to where this gumball is, and you guys all remember what this train looked like, right? Like this
Yeah,
beautiful.
I'm looking at a picture right now.
Yeah, this beautiful caramel-coloured and pink, slightly gooey but charming train with its cotton candy, and it doesn't look like that anymore. It's in a bad shape.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
No, not the train.
The train is being murdered, and this gumball is cracking. There are like shards of this liquid molten, like it looks like molten glass, but it's not. It's sugar, and there is smoke. It smells terrible. Like, have you ever smelled like burning sugar? And like metal and oil all at the same time is awful. So yeah, the first thing I'm gonna get you both to do is roll a Constitution saving throw to deal with that.
Stop giving me Constitution saving
I'm
throws.
sorry, but like this is a bad situation. It's not good on the lungs.
God damn it!
Yeah, that's not good.
Oh dear.
Yeah, Shorts Kid didn't look good. Oh, Snalian, you're fine. Snalian, you're just like.
Can I like split my roll so that Shorts Kid doesn't hit as bad? So it's like they failed but didn't do a crit fail.
Yeah,
so like
I'm gonna let that.
I'm normal and they only get a failure.
Yeah, I'm gonna allow
Because
that.
like that could have been really bad.
And that's really in character for Snalian, who's like, you know, you're a healer, you're a nice person, and so you basically assist your small companion. And while you're basically hesitating to deal with this onslaught on your lungs, you hear, help, help. And if you look directly down, so you basically now you have a choice. You can either go to the engine around this gumball, because you're on a goddamn dragon, you don't have to worry about that. Or you can go straight down and deal with a situation.
Alien's gonna be like, we gotta help. But they still look to Shorts Kid like, are you on board with this?
Shorts Kid is like, no, we gotta help, but also we gotta disconnect the train. We can only do one unless we split up. I've still got my speedy magic going on, and I've got my meteors, which should help if something comes flying at me, I can explode it. So
Me help with
I'm worried
engine
mainly
and
about you.
No. Remember, I'm smart. And they like knock their helmet and like, I can help with the engine.
Right. Okay, then I'm gonna put you in the engine, okay?
Yes, Gregory. And they like sort of pause for a moment, and then they're like, "Go with Short's kid so that they can't fall off. If they fall off, then catch them."
If they fall off, catch them.
And Gregory's like, "Yes, of course, my dear. Shall we be off, small one?"
Hold on a second, okay? And Short's kid says, can you stretch out your tail a little bit?
Absolutely, and they do so without question.
And then Short's kid uses their new vantage point as well as their speediness from Expeditious Retreat to dash to the end of his tail. Then chuck Snailian at the engine room's door. And Snailian is sticky, if I may remind you. So it's kind of like throwing one of those sticky hands at like a wall where it's.
You know what? That's so amazing. I really don't want to have to make you roll for this. On the other hand, I do, because that's what a DM has to do. So, yeah, Shorts Kid, I'm not sure what to make you roll for this, whether it's a dex or a strength thing. I want you to choose.
I'm gonna say dex because they have power over space.
Yeah, okay.
This is just about aim.
Okay, not so good. Okay, with a 9, you accidentally curveball this, and the result of this is that Snailian doesn't fall off the train, but you get stuck to the gumball instead of making it all the way to the engine. So you're stuck on this shiny, cracked surface, which is still partially full of fuel, but now you see, like, you remember looking up at this and seeing that there were definitely pieces of chocolate and raw cane sugar in it, but that pink stuff that you couldn't identify is bubblegum, and you can see this train is struggling, and occasionally like this kind of membrane of pink pushes out of the chimney stack, but it pops, and there's like just this gooey stuff that is not meant to be in there, and it's causing a real problem. However, let's go back to Shorts Kid. You're landing basically right on the end of the conservatory carriage, and you come across Maisie and Daisy, and one of them is looking really distraught because the other one is not looking good at all. Like half of her feathers are missing, and she is very unconscious. And the remaining owl, who is Daisy, is just weeping into her shoulder.
Shorts Kid runs over and says, "What's the matter?"
Oh my god, are you serious? Shorts Kid! Where's your goddamn empathy? You're worse than the engineer. But anyway.
No, I do. She doesn't actually know what's wrong right now.
Oh, no.
Like, she assumes she got hurt, but like, you gotta tell her if she's dead or if she's just hurt.
Daisy, who is the remaining alive owl, who's actually she's a barn owl. She's the one with paler feathers, and she looks up at you and is, she won't wake up. I've tried everything. Do you know any medicine?
Shorts Kid racks their brain and then says, "I know some cantrips." Which is that can I look at the other owl to see what's wrong?
Yeah, make a medicine check. That was the implication. I'm sorry,
okay.
Snailian, you're the one who should be here. Oh, D20. Come on, dice passer.
Come on.
Come on, a 6.
There we go.
You have no idea what's wrong with this owl apart from the fact that she looks burnt.
Okay, can I cast mending anyway?
You sure
That's
can.
not how bending
What
works, but
happens?
okay.
What happens is when you cast mending is her uniform fixes itself, and this makes Daisy cry even harder. And yeah, she's just like distraught. However, as this occurs, someone is staggering from underneath the gumball caddy, and it's not the engineer, it's Vudlig, who has come from the engine room, because you can tell because his tail is on fire, and he's patting it out absently. It's like, what are you doing here? Oh my goodness, children and fire is not a good mixture. No, you. Oh my goodness, what is wrong? Oh, okay, and he goes into immediate like emergency doctor situation. He's like, I will take the oh goodness, she is in the critical state. I will take the patient into the conservatory. I will try and deal with her. We have enough time, and you hear this enormous rumbling sound, And Snalian, you get a really good view of this because all of the fuel that was in that gumball caddy comes toppling out of it into the engine. And you can see like a marked difference immediately on this engine because, you know, it's got this kind of squeezed toothpaste tube look to it. It buckles outwards, pops, and, you know, there's rivets shooting out of it. And as Woodling puts his hands to his face in despair, something else happens that might make both of you a little bit concerned as well. But we're not going to deal with that just yet because we've spent a lot of time over here. I'm actually going to go straight back to Charlie and Larry, who are still, as it were, in conflict. You have moved into the next carriage, however. So you are now in the ballroom. Great! So meet me on the ball pit, everybody. There are spheres of every conceivable kind, but there is basically this large swimming pool hole in the middle, but there's a couple of like bouncy balls around the place. And as of yet, your lumbering enemy has not actually entered the room. What do you guys do?
Well, I think actually because, like, Charlie held his turn till after Larry, which means I think if the Oh My wants to follow, they get to move.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah, you get into the ballroom and you basically have enough time to take stock of your situation when wham, bam, crash, oh god, it's here. And yeah, your big furry friend comes looming into the room. And in fact, Charlie, you were like kind of the last one who attacked it. So it walks up to you and you feel this enormous shadow fall over you. And it raises a paw up to the ceiling and it touches the ceiling, which is a very high ceiling. And this club-like thing has claws like shards of glass and it raises the other paw to its stomach and it sings. When Ardora came for me, I decided not to flee. I fought to save the day. But I had no luck, now I've got no guts, so how I wish I'd run away. And it brings its arm down on you. And yeah, that's a +4 to attack. That's a 16.
Yeah,
How's
Charlie's
that
just
do?
fucking dead.
Oh dear, yeah, that beats your AC, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm afraid you're going to take a D8 plus 3. 10. You
That's
get
okay. Charlie's still up.
Amazingly.
He's not going great, but he's still up.
Yeah.
He's good. He's fine.
Cat fight.
Yeah, cat fight, basically. This guy has quite a lot of advantages over you, quite literally. But that's all he's going to do with his turn.
Ooh.
Larry, what are you going to do?
Question: Was that technically bludgeoning damage? By the way,
No, it was slashing damage.
was I was going to say actually because I was going to say I've still got the Acme effect because
The Acme effect works for all non-magical damage, so you can use that.
I'm going to claim Acme effect, please, because
Yes.
I don't want Charlie to be like on 10 health, please.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You are only mildly eviscerated. You take 5 damage.
He just kind of goes like, manages to like get his cloak, and he kind of, I was thinking if like squished down, so he kind of goes spring a little bit, but yeah.
I tell you what happens. I tell you what happens is it's very Warner Brothers. So these claws come down and you pat yourself and you look yourself over and you're like, oh, I'm fine. And then you split into 3 and then you use your hands to push yourself back together and you're like, it's fine. This is fine.
Yep, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yes.
Okay, now Larry, what you gonna do?
Now Larry is going to I just realized I've been messing up. Larry gets 2 attacks per round.
Oh my goodness, he does! He's a
been holding
barbarian!
back despite his rage.
Oh, I should have remembered too.
Um,
I forgot about that the first time I played the engineer, so we're both dumbasses. Whoops, never mind.
Hey,
Hey, it made for a
I'm so
good
used to
game.
playing all these non-fighters.
Yeah, it made for a
Yes.
good game, so thank you.
Now I mean, him getting attacked, whatever. He's got a lot of hit points and a lot of armor class.
Mhm.
But seeing Charlie get ripped apart, he's just like, nope. And he pulls out
his ukulele and uses that to also bash the oh my.
If you take the oh my out with a ukulele, I'm gonna be so happy. Please roll to attack. And with advantage again.
Oh. Yeah.
This is astounding.
Oh, this is the best. This has all worked out so good. Thank you guys. And again, I'm sorry it's running so long, but we gotta finish it. 15.
We got it.
On one hand, I want you to fail so I can use vicious mockery on him. On the other hand, I want you to kill him with a ukulele.
Okay, you hit him. How much do you hit him for?
Let's see. That's plus 2, so that is 6.
10. Hey.
10 damage.
Yeah. So
is it still up?
You
okay? And then he will again does a horrific twang, and then he pulls out another bow from his for his violin, and again pulls it back on the strings and launches it, which is absolutely proper violin hair. Don't at me.
Don't at me. Okay. Oh. And again, advantage, because Snailian, you like seriously, you really did knock it out of the ballpark.
Snailian's a hero.
Seriously.
Yeah.
No, y'all guys.
Oh.
Yeah, that's.
Let me just check just in
Aw,
case.
what a shame.
Okay,
You didn't
so
get
that-
double, but yeah, that's definitely hits for sure.
Yeah. Let's see.
For those listening, that was a 23.
Yes, a 23 to hit will certainly do it.
Yep.
So that is again.
Gonna murder a big lion.
Plus,
Big.
no wait. Plus 5. Beep.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, the first one makes this creature stagger, and it puts a paw to its nose, like, expecting it to be bloodied. But hey, it doesn't have any blood, so then it shrugs, like, nothing is nothing's a problem. And then it gets shot straight. You know, like, you can see these terrible scars that are all sewn together, not very well, where Dora has made this amalgamate out of whatever she could get out of a zoo, presumably, and you hit it at a critical point in its like solar plexus, and the stitches undo, and it basically falls apart into pieces in front of you. You have defeated the Oh My! Congratulations!
Yay!
That was
And
amazing.
Larry strums an extremely dramatic chord on his ukulele, and then grabs Charlie and starts running. Other two.
Yeah, they're out of there.
Yeah, okay, that's great.
Also,
Oh, yes.
can I say, out of character, I love the fact that it worked out. Each character got their solo right before they got fucking murdered.
I was relieved. I mean, I gave them enough hit points, like, each to sort of stagger it, and I put them in that order because I was, like, hoping this would happen, and it did! I'm very pleased.
Hey!
Yeah.
You're such a good DM.
Really good. There were some extra lines. There were some extra lines if they lasted longer, but I'm relieved because my throat is giving out. Okay, so now we go back to Snailian. You're on a gumball, and it just ended itself.
Don't we go to Shorts Kid first?
I'm gonna say not, because I kind of did a scene with Short's kid with the owls and Woodleg, but
It's
Okay,
Alien's turn.
Excellent. Because Snailian is looking at all of this and seeing this, and they're going into their helmet, and they pull out the brain cell.
Aha.
They put it between their nubbins, and they're very specifically asking this question that's not actually a yes or no question, because that would be a waste of the brain cell. They put it between their hands, and they think very hard, and they think, how can the train be saved?
The ether vibrates around you, and this terrible answer comes back to you, and it says it can't, it can't, it can't. But you still have the strong information, like, from others and your brain cell, that while this train specifically, the engine cannot be saved, the engine cars can be saved, like the carriages can be saved by decoupling them. So your initial mission is, like, extremely well founded. You should just pursue this mission.
Okay, so Snailian very gently pats a part of the circle that isn't broken and says, I'm so sorry. First of all, for accusing you of murder, and second of all, because I can't save you.
Oh my god, I'm
Do
gonna
you
cry.
know where the engineer is? And they're asking the train.
The glass underneath you breaks, and you feel like the train has kind of perhaps betrayed you. However, it lands on the fuel scuttle, like this scoop-like part that feeds the fuel into the train, and you go rolling along it until you are stopped by a fuzzy paw which scoops you out of this, and you are face to face with the engineer who's holding you in his hand, and he says, what the heck are you doing up here? And he looks terrible. He has just staggered out of the engine room, and you don't know how he was in there, because there are literally billowing clouds of pink-white flame that is just unbearably hot. That's part of what your Constitution saving throw was for, because the temperature is just extraordinary. And he's patting the flames out from his sleeve. His coat has disappeared at some point. He's in his shirt sleeves and his waistcoat, but he's a mess, man. Like, his feathers are half on fire, and he doesn't seem to mind that so much as the goo, which is like, it looks like he's wading through a swamp, because there's these ropes of taffy. You know, like, have you ever seen a taffy pull? Like, there is that, but it's like magma hot, this stuff. And he, like, wades his way out of the engine room to get you as far away from the fire as possible. And yeah, he's just like, what are you doing here? Get off, get as far back as you can. I've got to decouple this train.
Yes, we gotta decouple the train, but you don't have to do it alone. I mean, I'm here, and I understood when you were talking about the engine and an engineer, and we can't save it. We have to decouple the engine to save everybody else. But I'm also here to convince you we can't save it. And they like hold up the brain cell, like, I used this, I tried, but we can't save it. We gotta decouple.
He puts his hand over the brain cell and like sort of lowers it, where he says, I know. I know. And that's why I did that. And he points up at the gumball caddy, and you realise that the last thing the engineer was able to do before being forced to leave the engine was to make all of the fuel go into the train, which is bonkers. And he looks at his stopwatch and says, right, well, we've got about 2 minutes, we better step on it. And you see, as the train curves to the left, banks to the left, you are going at such a speed, it is amazing that this train hangs on to the rails as it does. However, you understand why he did this, because for a fact, this train is going very fast. It's running ahead of schedule. However, in about 6 minutes, it would be arriving at the station, because on the horizon, this thing that so horrified Vodleg and the remaining owl, and Shorts Kid, you saw this too, is the blocky, black, cut-out paper outline of a city. And this is the capital of UPA, the fantastic city of Villestown. And it is one of the most populated cities in Inkwell. And you remember how busy the train station was in Toontown. You imagine that similar crowds will be amassing in the train station, awaiting the arrival of this glorious, prestigious train and its guests. So, you now have about 1 minute and 50 seconds until the engine explodes, because if it exploded later, more people would die. You have correctly assumed that decoupling the train is the best course of action. So he takes you to the decoupling mechanism and says, I tried to do it from inside the train. That is the default. The mechanism is just, it's gone. It's gone. It's no, you should see it. It's melted. It's incredible. I didn't even know it could do that. But yeah, we've got to do this. And you reach the main pin that is connecting the engine to the gumball and everything that's behind it. And it is stuck with all this goo, and it doesn't look in a good way. It's like it's buckled unnaturally. So, do you have anything that can do to, like, help decouple the train? Or do you want to just do a strength check with the engineer?
Let me look.
I personally do.
Well, you're
Can
not present at the moment, I'm afraid.
Can Snailian call out to Gregory and say, bring Shorts Kid right now?
Yes, absolutely.
okay, then that's what they're going to do. They're going to be like, Gregory, we need Shorts Kid over here. Is the person helped? And Gregory's like, yes, the person is. And Snillian immediately goes, bring Shorts Kid right here, right now. And Gregory, as best he can, flies up. And I assume he actually has to like let Shorts Kid sort of slide down the tail because they can't actually fit between the gap. But they're like coiled carefully, like if they can continue to help, they will.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to make Shorts Kid roll for this. Shorts Kid, are you going to go?
Yes.
Okay, you do that. And now we have a little reunion, and the engineer looks absolutely terrified, because what is this kid doing here? And, like, yeah, he's just like, okay, well, this got even worse than it was a couple of seconds ago, and we have very few of those left. Let's decouple this train. And, yeah, you're all going to have to do that. Shorts Kid, what was it that you could do to help?
Shorts Kid currently has 4 minute meteors still orbiting around them, which each do 2d6 fire damage.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. Okay, I mean, like...
So they say, so do I need to blue shell this, or...?
I have no idea what that means.
You really need to play Italian electrician car.
That's wonderful. We have literally 65 seconds until we're all pecking blown to smithereens. Let's just do this.
Okay, and Shorts Kid says, all right, you might want to... is everybody on the gumball? We need to get on the gumball.
Yeah, the thing is, like, this connection is, like, directly beneath that coal scuttle that feeds the fuel into the engine. So you can either stand on the engine side or the gumball side, or kind of in between. So, like, the engineer is just on the engine side because that's where the best leverage would be. But, you know, if you're gonna attack this thing, just do it.
Yeah, Shorts Kid reaches over and yanks on the engineer and makes sure that Snalien is on the gumball side so that they're all on the side that is not attached to the big part of the train that's going to explode. And then their eyes go starry again, and they're just like, heck you! And I'm going to say all of the meteors, because I'm even going to use my bonus action for this. All 4 of the Melf's minute meteors are aimed at the coupling specifically to explode it.
Okay, I mean, I wasn't expecting this, but also, if you're doing this, Snalien, do you want to attack this thing?
Snalien,
It's a yes or no
I don't
question.
know. I think Snalien at this point is like linking up with Gregory and is like trying to prepare for if they have to jump or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
They're actually distracted.
Okay, no, that's fine. You're preparing for the aftermath, which, you know, there will be one, so that's clever. Yeah. Oh my goodness me, that's 22 to damage this thing. And I'm gonna say, that's fine. That's plenty. So this pinion, like, this pin thing, not pinion, I'm thinking of birds too much. Oh, it's all about the birds on these trains, huh? And, this connection breaks. And all of you are going to have to make a dex saving throw. And this includes Charlie and Larry. However, with your preparation, Snalien, you get advantage. Okay, Larry, you're fine. Shorts Kid, not so much.
Well, Shorts Kid was closest to the explosion.
This was, sorry, I completely missed that because my, is this dex?
Yeah, dex saving throw.
Okay. Thank you.
I got an 8 and then I got a 7.
Basically, they decoupled the train and then some. Okay, yeah, Charlie and Larry, you get a sort of muted version of this, which makes sense. But what happens is, like, basically as soon as you've decoupled this train, everything from the gumball backwards, the automatic brake kicks in. So it stops very suddenly and you're effectively, like, thrown against it. Charlie and Larry, you are about halfway through the laboratory car when the emergency brake kicks in, and while the resultant whiplash reduces the interior from organised chaos to extremely broken, unorganised chaos, Due to your location within the confines of your carriage, you find that you are shaken, but not stirred, as you pick yourselves up quickly and continue forwards. Simultaneous to this, we witness the two owls and the professor in the next car who buckle under the swaying force, while the trees and plants around them are uprooted by their own mass, leaves and soil and water. It's all flying through this burnt sugar-scented air as the hand of the unconscious owl unknowingly squeezes that of her wife in a sleeping promise to come back to her as Professor Woodlig continues to tend to her wounds. No, we're not going to kill the lesbian owls. You cannot make me do this. Okay, Snailian, Shorts Kid, and Gregory, because of your not so great rolls, you didn't succeed. So here's the thing: if you were an object sitting on another very fast-moving object, like say a train, for example, and it suddenly stops moving, there is every likelihood that you will keep moving. You three discover that, even with prior knowledge of what is about to happen. Thank you so much, Logitech, for your input. Go away. You three discover that, even with prior knowledge of what is about to happen, you are not well anchored enough to the surface of the gumball caddy to keep purchase. And as the brakes slam on, you feel your own momentum throw you forwards across the gap and towards the engine. Yes, the Newtonian principles demand their pound of flesh from you, but they are denied it, because there's an immovable object standing in your way, and he has a point of inspiration. So we enter now a series of slow-motion cuts in close-up, and you are given a brief but pertinent demonstration of just how this absurd, short, light-boned, fuzzy-looking little creature is and has been known as a master stuntman far and wide for the majority of his long and successful career. You feel as though you've been hit by a pair of sharply taloned, yet somehow still soft, steam-driven pistons as one of the engineer's paws shoves Shorts Kid full in the back, and the other takes Gregory in the chest as the gentle dragon's claws have already fixed firmly around Snailian. This diminutive director for a fleeting moment becomes a wall of sinew, muscle, and flame-lit orange feathers which bulks up against your peripheral vision before unleashing itself as time resumes, your backwards flight propelling you safely into the wall of the gumball's lower casing. Sadly, as you shake the stars from your eyes, you see too late that the price for this act was something heavily paid, and likely in advance, as when you look at the train hurtling away from you, carrying with it the engineer's rapidly receding form, you see that those rope-like bindings of molten taffy have set like concrete against the cold metal and night air, his dark-clad legs effectively welded to the backplate of the sugar-powered engine he has been so unerringly proud of. And you can see that he had attempted to jump to join you, but he's stuck, and he grabs hold of the railing and swims himself back up in time to see you, and he smiles, 'cause you made it. And as he smiles and this smile disappears into the darkness, you hear this incredible and this enormous bubble sprouts out of the engine's funnel. And in a beautiful piece of absurd tragedy, this train, now freed from its carriages, peels itself up off the track and sails up into the air and goes forwards, and its impetus carries it further out and away from the city that rises to its right, and it turns in the air, and you have this incredible spectacle of this locomotive in profile with the moon shining and these two bands of light underneath it where the rails disappear into the night, and then you hear this very gentle and the bubble bursts, and for an incredible moment you just have this train hanging suspended by nothing in a sea of stars, and then it tilts away from you, and gravity seems to pull it down into the unyielding earth, and there is an explosion. I would like Snailian and Shortskid to make another Constitution saving throw.
Can I use inspiration for this?
Yeah, sure.
Shortskid uses inspiration to get a nat 20 on that because I've rolled so good on Constitution so far. And because of that, Shortskid is just staring up at where the train went and is just like, no, this isn't how this is going to go. Train Dad is going to be fine. I'm not letting this happen. And casts second level hold person.
Yeah, honey, the explosion is gonna happen. Please let this happen.
No, the explosion is gonna happen.
Oh, the explosion is gonna happen.
They're gonna hold Train Dad in place.
What? I'm not sure that's gonna help.
They're going to stop him moving while the train continues falling.
Question, what's the range of the spell?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Look, man.
It's visual.
It's visual? Is it really?
It's if you can see him.
Wow. I'm not sure you can, because, I mean, look at the angle of the train.
Actually, range is 60 feet, so...
oh, honey, no. He's
just...
yeah.
Are you going to straight up kill Train Dad, or are you gonna let me do something cool?
I'm gonna say, like...
We've got Infinity Train. He's fine.
Yeah. The never-ending train is, like, what happens to this guy after this. However, I'm gonna let this play out because you hold person, and that is why he survives the explosion and then can take part in the future games. But you don't see it. But you do not see it. And there is still this goddamn huge explosion. Snailian, you still have to make me a Constitution saving throw. It's the last roll of the game. Yeah.
Didn't I?
All right, I'll take that we
Gosh,
do
darn
not...
it, no, it was in the chestnut gallery.
Oh, it was in the chestnut
I'll
gallery.
take that we do not see it, but Shortskid is still, like, doing hold person, and with all the belief in their body is just like, no, he's gonna be fine, he's gonna be fine, he's gonna be fine, and then the train explodes. They lose concentration, and the engineer, after the train has exploded in a ball of fire, starts falling to the earth, but they don't see that because he's too far away.
Well, something like that happens. I can't let you actually rewrite that. Snailian, what was your role, because you put it in the wrong channel?
It was a 21.
It was a 21.
Very sorry.
Okay, you're both fine, which is just as well, because this wall of, like, condensed air and heat, and again, molten sugar, which is like, jeez, you don't want to get that on you, splatters around you, but miraculously does not hit any of you. And this is how the story ends. After seeing the explosion in the distance, the emergency services of UPA's capital rally and travel out to meet you and the other survivors stranded on the Red Lace line. The news of Victor Tim's death is met with devastation, and that devastation is only matched by that caused by the betrayal of Dora Z. Scale, who was one of the most beloved movie icons of the Toonkind continent. The emergency services put out the fire and searched the smouldering wreckage of the main engine, but alive or dead, there is no sign of the driver to be found. What should have been a celebration of the connections and progression of the united efforts of the continent fell apart, derailed in the most literal sense by an act of sabotage that no one could have foreseen. News travelled and leaked fast in the hours following the disaster, as with the revelation that McCodger was the key financier of the project. As if an omen of darker times to come, stocks in Screw McCodger's many trusted nationwide enterprises dropped for the first time in history. You receive 50 gold each from the company in compensation, but with the added weight to your wallet, does little to relieve the weight felt in the hearts and minds of all the citizens. Only Quill. That was the end of the story.
I feel the need to make you now sit through this. Shortskid, as an after scene, is standing along with the rescue team, searching through the train's wreckage, and they're just looking furiously, and they're saying, I know, I saw it right here. I saw it right here. He'll be okay. He'll be fine. I stopped him, and then I I let him go, but that was an accident, and he's tough. He'll be okay. And then Shorts Kid, after finally attempting to lift some large to them piece of like metal rebar or something, just their arms shake and they drop it. And then there's that thing where the dirt under them gets like two little moist droplets.
Oh.
And then we pan up to Shorts Kid's face, and they're scrubbing desperately with their heels at their eyes. And they say, he's gonna be fine. I did it. I fixed it. I made sure he wouldn't. And Shorts Kid is just trying really hard not to cry, and then they sink to their knees, and they say, I did it, right? We did it. We solved the murder, and we broke the coupling, and
Larry,
gonna be giving you the biggest hug.
Larry comes up and picks up Shorts Kid in his big old lanky arms and holds them and goes, no matter what happens, no matter how close you are to a person, there comes a time when we all have to go our separate ways. And you can do all you can, and you can care as much as is possible. And there will still come a time when you need to separate. And it won't be easy, and it won't feel right, and you'll feel like you're not yourself without them. But that's okay.
Larry,
Because you'll find other people who will be with you.
Larry, I killed my train bat. And then they just bury their face in Larry's hoodie, and they're sobbing.
Snailian is absolutely crawled up, and they're like, well, so, and they like desperately look at Larry like, do they, Shorts Kid, do you have a place to go? Because like I didn't have a place to go, but I got money now. We could get like an apartment, and I don't know how Toonkind work. You remember how I couldn't even do the cops and robbers and the bud cop and the jad cop? I couldn't do that, right? So we could be together.
I have a bunker because I have a portal, but it didn't do anything. It's not gonna ever do anything. I didn't even get to see the dog that he was gonna get. I didn't get to see the dog.
He's gonna come in here and provide a tiny bit of hope, because like that's all he can kind of really do in this situation. And he's just gonna come and scruffle Shorts Kid's hair and go like, hey kid, like we don't know what happened. We didn't find a body. You never know. Maybe he'll turn up one day.
I didn't want to hurt anybody. I never want to hurt anybody, and yet...
Oh, this wasn't your fault. Oh, Shorts Kid, this wasn't your fault.
And Shorts Kid just says, I shouldn't have stopped Larry. I shouldn't have stopped him.
We can talk all day about should and shouldn't, and maybe and if, and what could and what isn't. All we know is what is, and it's just us.
That
It's
is...
going to keep going.
Sorry. That's like literally the best ending I could possibly give it, and thank you all very much for playing. I'm sorry, it's such a huge bummer. However, as those who are in the Toonkind Discord may well know, the engineer has now been sort of involuntarily swept away on some other adventures, and if he ever gets off that other train, there may well be a reunion. So we'll see what happens in the far and distant future. Thank you.
There's going to be a reunion.
Thank you.
There better be a reunion.
You all played it very
I
well.
love so much, but I'm so
survives.
angry.
You made me cry, so I
Oh,
felt
God.
the need to make you cry.
I'm sorry for making you
You all
cry.
don't know what I'm planning for my never-ending train. You don't know what's going to happen.
I am so worried, Kai. Please be nice to this very old man.
He's a tough old
You
bird.
weren't nice to us, Mod.
That's true. Nah, it's
You
true.
weren't nice to us.
I
To
wasn't
be
nice to you.
fair, I didn't know that the never-ending train session came after the Taffy train
Yeah,
session. So as far as I knew, you were just
Oh.
straight up
I
planning on
thought you were.
murdering
I thought you were fighting that really hard. I was like, does she not know? She doesn't know, does she? Oh well.
I didn't know, so I was just like, no, we're not fucking killing Train Dad.
No, I wouldn't let you do that. I mean, he's too much fun to play. Do you think I'm gonna stop talking like this after spending literally 2 months training with a friend from Edinburgh to try and get it right? Oh my goodness, no. Anyway, I am going to stop recording now. Thank you very much. I'm sorry that ran on for quite a long time, but it was great, perfect, you're all marvelous. And yeah.
Again, I'm sorry I fought you so hard on
No,
that.
it
I was
It means a
character
lot.
not letting Train Dad die.
It means a lot to me that you fought so hard to save him because you didn't know that he wasn't actually going to die. So that was great. Okay. Also, it's
That
very
was
encouraging.
actually Short's kid's reaction and feeling
Yeah.
is that they just straight up tried everything and it didn't work.
Sorry, that was the hand of Mod. Yeah. Any last words, everybody, before I run away and eat food? Because my goodness, I need it.
I was gonna say if
We love you so much.
That is also true. We do love you. I was also going to say, if something does happen to the engineer, you can always just, like, his twin brother turns up out of nowhere.
No! No! Forbidden. I shall never. Listen, if I die for good. I will have a dramatic death scene, that'll be it. But I really do hope that he can make it back, because I've already written the reunion game. Oops! I love you guys so much, I already wrote it. This fan family is too strong, dudes. Okay.
This family is extremely good.
Just again, I'm very sorry if I ever overstepped or anything. I'm just trying really hard to get the good ending, TM, because I am incapable of not trying too hard.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's me and my tragicomical sensibilities, and as people who've read my comics know, they don't always have a happy end. So this was one of those occasions, and yeah, I'm gonna stop.
I just feel really bad because you're like, no, don't fucking try to God mod, and I'm just like, I'm not trying to. I really don't want bad things to happen, and they're happening anyway.
You weren't god modding, but you know, adjusting time and space so things never happened is a little bit like if you get the spell wish, maybe we can talk about that.
That's literally the definition of god modding.
Yeah. Anyway, right. Seriously, I've got to go, or I'm gonna pass out. So, good night, everybody. Sorry for making you all cry, but I'm also not.
I hope you cried.
Thank you
Extremely good.
This was the best game.
Really good, and I'm so mad.
I knew you would be. I told you, Uni, didn't I tell you?
She warned me thoroughly, so I was like, what's she up to?
Uni knows me better than y'all. Okay, I'm going now. I'm stopping the recording. Good night.
Go get a rest.
Bye.
Bye.